What's going on, y'all? It's Malcolm, and welcome to the Loung'n Podcast. Whether you're joining us for the first time or you're a returning lounger, I'm excited to have you here. For our new listeners, Loung'n Out is a podcast where we dive into a variety of topics that I find fascinating. From video games, fragrances, movies, shows, to comics, all along the way, we'll have engaging discussions and entertaining conversations. And for my returning loungers, welcome back. Your support really does mean the world to me, and I appreciate you pulling up. Whether you're new or returning, I do encourage you to follow the podcast so you never miss an episode. Whether you decided to hit that follow button before we begin, in the middle of an episode that catches your interest, or after you listen to what you feel is a fire episode, your support is truly appreciated. Let's keep the conversations going and the community growing. Thank you for being a part of the Lounge crew. What's going on, guys? It's Malcolm, and welcome to the Loung'n Out Podcast. Today, I got John Sloan back in the studio. We were going to have Che in here today as well. If you tuned into my last podcast, we did a Sinners review, and at the end, I mentioned that we were going to be doing a Thunderbolts review, but I fumbled the ball. Basically, I thought I sent him out the message on confirming that we were going to do it tonight, but again, I fumbled the ball, so we're going to reschedule that for a few days from now. But John's here already, so we're just going to, just let it fly, and whatever comes to mind, we'll talk about. All right? Because, we were talking about, some parts of the Thunderbolts. We were talking about, just some things from Marvel and basically what we're pretty much anticipating outside of, Marvel coming up, which you were saying that was it Kevin Feige that you said that he doesn't want people to feel like they're doing homework when it comes to tying in the shows and the movies and whatnot?
Yeah, he recently came out and said that he admits that it's become too much of a chore to basically have to do your homework before every movie, because if you haven't seen I think the Thunderbolts press release, I think they said there's been 36 movies, and I'm not sure that's 36. Including the
that's crazy
TV tie-ins.
Damn, that's crazy.
So, yeah, he's admitted that I think it's after, don't quote me, but I think it's after the new Vision series that's coming up probably next year or whatever it's going to hit.
What's it called exactly? Because I saw that it was a New Vision or no?
Yeah, it's Vision something. It has
Vision
something.
World.
Vision World,
yeah, kind of like
something with Vision. But yeah, they said after that, the tie-ins are going to be, I'm guessing, one-offs.
Yeah.
Instead of which to me is nice, because I mean that's one thing, especially if you're gonna go comic book style, which is doing a one-off series. Comics are famous for your one-off 5-episode series. Sometimes they're even retcon stuff because it's just a 5-series, 5-episode thing, and they're done. Just
like a little fun. Okay, what if? Basically, you know what I mean?
Right. And honestly, if you did it that way, it could even be like a movie. Just this is what happened to, I know that Ironheart, but this is what Iron Man did for 6 weeks. It's who cares? It's nothing into the big gigantic world. You don't even have to tie it in, and it could even be an Easter egg if it's tied in. And it don't have to be anything major. If you don't see it, you miss out.
Yeah. I mean, just appreciate it for what it is. Again, you don't have to go back and do your homework. Like you said earlier, if they mentioned Bucky running for senator, and then in the movie, he's a senator, and it's just if you didn't pick up on that line, you could have missed that detail, and you could have been just thrown from a loop, I guess.
Because with Bucky, I guess they also said he's been in 10 different movies.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But the last time you really saw him was Falcon and Winter Soldier, where they don't mention anything about it, and then you have a throwaway line, and Captain America says, "Hey, I'm looking to run for senator or whatever. I was on a campaign trail or something."
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden in Thunderbolts, spoiler alert, it talks very early in the movie, which it's been in the trailer, that, Senator Bucky Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's a throwaway line in a movie, but if you don't see it, you're really confused from being just
right.
potential Captain America to senator. How does that even tie in? And
yeah, exactly. It just kind of, I was just saying that I dislike the fact that, if they mention something in one show or mention something in a movie, like, okay, I watched WandaVision. I caught up with that. And so, like I said, now I got to watch Agatha to see how that ties in. And then, like, is there anything else that's tied into Agatha and WandaVision? And,
right. And,
so much.
You hate to sit there and look around and be like, well, if I don't see this, how am I supposed to know that?
Right.
Even with this Thunderbolts, which is a good little throwaway, could potentially be a good throwaway team of movies they threw together, like Suicide Squad on the DC side. But every one of them's been tied to a previous movie. So if you haven't seen them, you don't know their backstory. And
right. And I seen that they, speaking of Suicide Squad, they announced the season 2 for Peacemaker. So I'm excited about that.
I'm excited too, because now that James Gunn's in charge of the DC universe or whatever, but you already see it with the new trailer. You have Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner and there was 2 other characters. Maxwell Lord was up there in the booth when Peacemaker's going to ask to be part of the Justice League or whatever. He's interviewing at the very beginning, and Guy Gardner and James Gunn's brother is up there as Maxwell Lord, and there was another character that once you see Superman, you'll know who they are, but I just happen to know just because I've been following it.
Right. I started watching Peacemaker just out of honestly because he was a DLC character on Mortal Kombat.
Right.
The Mortal Kombat 1, he was a DLC character, and I kept seeing so many people like reference all the different, moveset that Peacemaker had that was the callback to the show, and I'm like, feeling
like I need to see it now.
Yeah. I'm feeling like I'm out of the loop. I'm like, what are they talking about? The eagle and what's up with this helmet business and all this other shit. But I went to go watch it just to kind of like fill myself in before the DLC character dropped, and I binged it in like a day or two. Bro.
Two days later, you already went through all the episodes.
I did, man, and it was so cool because it like they didn't rely too heavy on like the alien was it the moth or whether the butterflies or whatever
like
they were,
alien butterfly invasion type thing. And
it's like they didn't rely too heavy on that. They did a lot of good character development and whatnot, good storytelling. I mean, shoot, man, his dad played a really good villain.
Oh, you know what I mean? Like every bit of it. And then you didn't have to see the Suicide Squad to know who Peacemaker was. Like it just went straight into a show. And
exactly. Like that wasn't like you missed anything. You could just anybody can sit down and watch Peacemaker and feel the same way as somebody who watched the Suicide Squad as well as watching the Peacemaker. I mean, it was a little bit it picked up right after the movie ended because he got shot and whatnot, and I think you thought he was dead, but it picked up with him being in the hospital. But still, even if that's the case, I think you really could have watched either or and been fine. You know what I mean?
Like, so it does have a little bit of carryover, but within 5 minutes of the show, you're caught up.
Yeah, exactly.
Essentially.
And it was funny about Robert Englund being his dad. T-1000 is also in Mortal Kombat 1, and when they do the mashup after you say you pick Peacemaker and somebody else picks T-1000, he's like, you look familiar. Are you sure you're not my dad or something? No, he's like, you remind me of my dad. And it was so cool because, if you don't know, Robert Englund is T-1000 in the Terminator series. Or is it Robert Englund or Patrick?
Robert Englund's Freddy.
Patrick I'm sorry, Freddy. I feel like they kind of have like the both, kind of like the, I don't know. It's something about them. They have that same.
They're similar, like the mannerisms and stuff delivery. So it's
Patrick, what's his name?
Robert Patrick.
Okay,
that's another thing. They're both Roberts.
Okay. But like he was T-1000 in the Terminator series as well as being Peacemaker's dad. So like they had a nice little nod to whenever you match up T-1000 with Peacemaker, he says that T-1000 looks like his dad. But that was a pretty cool touch. I really enjoyed that.
I like the little Easter eggs in games and movies to tie in stuff.
Oh yeah.
For the people that know.
And I gotta say, man, John Cena can act. John Cena can fucking act, bro.
He doesn't mind humbling himself, which I love. Like, even he did that it was like Trainwreck or whatever with Amy Schumer, and like his first movie, and he's standing there bare ass in the movie, and it's like he has no I can't remember the name of it, but it's the Amy Schumer movie. But
he did another movie with like Lil Rel, and I can't remember the actress.
That's hilarious. It's Honeymoon Vacation.
Yeah, he was bare ass in there too.
Yeah.
It was funny because he's like, that bird's gonna shit.
Yeah.
And the bird shits.
And then some of the movies are absolutely stupid, but he has no, like, he will go over the top. Anything you expect of him.
Exactly.
He makes a turn on it.
He's like, I'm at your disposal. Whatever you need of me, I'm here to do.
Right.
Even in Bumblebee, like, he played the agent or whatever, and he was actually convincing. You know what I mean?
Right. And I'm not saying Dwayne Johnson's a bad actor, because I do like his movies. I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't.
Right.
But as a 90s kid, he's still just The Rock. Like, he is the same person he was on TV is the same person he is in every movie. Like, there's no like, in his earlier movies, he did like Get Shorty and some other ones, and he was different characters. He played different, but as he's become bigger and bigger, he literally is just like The Rock takes on an earthquake in San Andreas, and The Rock takes on Vin Diesel, and The Rock takes on
the kaiju, gorilla, alligator, and wolf. You know, what I mean?
Rampage.
It was a cool, nod to the game that that was the arcade back in the day. Which, speaking of arcades, I miss arcades, man. I mean, you got 812 Rec Bar, but it still kind of misses that, like.
It doesn't hit the same.
Yeah, it doesn't have that je ne sais quoi that like arcades
I miss
used to have.
the dings and noises of walking into an arcade and
just loading up on quarters, man.
Yeah, there's like one like nice little arcade down in Gatlinburg that's nice, and I've ran into a couple here and there, but there's none that just hits like. I miss the hole in the wall, Aladdin's Castle. As soon as you walk in the mall, just it's dark, it's dimly lit. It's got that bowling alley carpet on the floor.
Just pizza, just like cheap pizza and shit. Like I remember. Did you always live in this area, Louisville?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the Galleria? Like they had an arcade in the Galleria, and I remember my uncle used to take us there because my mom worked, and so he was our basically babysitter. So sometimes he'd take us to the arcade, and he was he was kind of a big kid too, so he would be playing the video games alongside with us, and we'd be watching him like go hard on X-Men, because X-Men was one of his favorite.
I love the original X-Men arcade where you had the 4 slots, you could have 4 different characters at once, and
they have that at 812 Rec Bar, and I played it, but still, it just
and that's. The nostalgia is there, but at the same time, it's just it's also not, because unless Rec Bar's busy, it also just feels it's so empty.
Hollow,
that
it's, I get that, man. I
but
get
with
that a lot.
Being said, the tots are fire. So
oh my god, A12 Rec Bar has tots. They got and I like that everything is kind of like show or movie theme.
Oh yeah, like I always get the Sub-Zero drink, which is an alcoholic drink, but I just love it because it's blue and
They had another Mortal Kombat drink called Finish Him.
Yes,
I got that one too. And they're tots because they have like a bed of tots that they pile on, like it's always sunny tots. They got steak and fried peppers and onions, and they got some queso on there. So they got like so many different things that are themed after different movies and shows and stuff like
usually,
that.
Like I went to the 502 Rec Bar, and it's a whole lot smaller. I was actually kind of surprised, but being it was the original, but it's they also both of them have the Tacho of the month, because they call them tachos because they're like nachos because they load them down. But cool. We just went. Gosh, it was just last month we went, because I think it was like Buffy the Tacho Slayer or something like that.
Buffy the Tacho Slayer.
It was the Tacho of the month.
That's awesome.
Because I made the waitress actually go find the name, because I wanted her to say it out loud instead of just saying the Tacho of the month.
That's got to be fun to sit there and like just name stuff, to make a signature dish. You know what I mean? It kind of
have fun with it.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's the passion, man. Like if you love it, it's not really work.
And that's what we was talking about a lot earlier. Exactly, it's just passion projects, whether it be Ryan Coogler with like Centers or just anything. If you got passion, then it shows through in your work.
It really does. It really does.
It don't even have to be, which the tachos are fire, but it don't even have to be good. A lot of times just passion will overshine the...
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And with the tachos, you taste it, that somebody, took time to figure out like what they want to put on this dish and what they want to call it. and why it's inspired by this and that and the other. Like I enjoyed Rec Bar A12 because of that stuff too. But you know, at the same time, I think we're all chasing that dragon when it comes to like the 90s though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's a problem.
I miss every bit of the 90s. Even like I live in old Clarksville. And even the Save a Step down there, I remember being over rent movies out of the Save a Step.
Damn,
we had a little video room in the back room.
Really,
it wasn't big, but like when you go on the Save a Step in Clarksville, where the Coke area starts, that used to go all the way into where their bathroom and stuff is.
And that was a movie rental,
and it had just like a little 3 walls of movies, and then they had a
blown right down.
As soon as you walked into the door, which right now I think they got a big Blue Bell ice cream thing.
Okay,
but it used to be a Shinobi arcade, and then it was replaced out with Ninja Gaiden.
What?
And I would be there every day. Like after school, I'd walk because I went to the school there. I'd walk down and play games and stuff, and I'd get a movie and then go home from school. Because well, I mean, back in the day, they even had like credit at stores where you could just be like, I'm John Sloan's kid, and it like would write it on his credit for my dad to pay next time he was in store.
Dang, that's crazy.
Nowadays, you can't even you get 5 years for stealing a piece of bubble gum.
Right, yeah. Nobody trusts you, you know what I mean? So you can say I'm so and so's a kid. They're like, so?
Right. But dude, like I missed the 90s. Shit. Like I fell in love with the Ready Player One and then partially Ready Player Two books because that's so my wheelhouse of being a 90s kid and a late 80s kid.
So how many books do they have of that series?
Just the 2.
Just 2.
He made the first one, and then I guess Steven Spielberg convinced him to make a sequel, which if Steven Spielberg tells you to do something, like, you do it.
Yeah.
But
so
it's okay. I mean, it still carries on a lot of the 80s theme stuff, but it's just kind of like you could tell he just had an ending and was done with it, but now I got to throw more story at it.
Okay, yeah.
It's got a lot about, actually a big part about Prince in the second book.
Prince, like the artist?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it's like, it plays on a fictional girl in there that her biggest favorite artist in the 80s was Prince. So, because if you don't know about Ready Player One, it's more like almost like a Roblox type environment, which I'm pretty sure he stole it from Roblox, but we won't get into that because you can mix everything from Marvel, DC, movies, everything's all in this environment. And
which that's what was cool about the movie is that like at the end when there was just everything from every game or every character from every game,
like the Battletoads out there, and then
you had Mecha Godzilla,
Chucky
you had Gundam,
yes,
all that shit, bro.
And which, as a fan of like anime and a lot of things, the book hits even better because they throw deeper cuts out there that Steven Spielberg was scared to. He didn't want to reference a lot of his own movies and stuff like that. Right. Where the book's like he just wrote the book. You know?
Yeah.
But in the second one, they have to go to the Prince world, which is a whole world designed nothing but Prince, and they have to battle the 7 evil princes.
What?
So you have to get like Purple Rain Prince and the
that was cool.
Him with the band and just like all the different versions of Prince that you have to go against, which is pretty cool. Yeah,
that sounds cool because in my head, what I was thinking, like, since she was a Prince fan, she was going to be like all decked out in Prince, and somebody was going to be or in Prince gear or Prince like gear, and somebody was going to like, what are you, fan of Prince or something like that? She's like, yeah, I am,
Yeah,
type
no,
shit.
It's full on. They have to go like to get the final clue to the thing or somebody's shard to their soul. Actually, I think that's what it is.
MacGuffin, essentially.
Yeah, they have to go to the Prince world and defeat the almighty princes.
That is so crazy. It makes me want to read the books now, to be honest.
It does. I've got them both on audiobook, and I ain't gonna lie, like I'm actually going back to Ready Player One again.
Really? Okay.
I throw it on in the mornings a lot of times when I take the kids to school. It just gives me about a half hour worth of just listening to it.
Okay. So was the movie pretty, like, I don't say spot on, but every movie iteration might take its liberties.
It took a lot of liberties, and in fact, the book I think would have made a better movie if they would have just stuck to it.
Oof, damn.
Like, I'm trying to think some different variations. Well, one, the Godzilla, you talk about the Mecha Godzilla. Everybody that finishes that key gets a Godzilla or gets a robot. So you got like Yeah, you got like all these different Godzillas and Robotrons and just different like huge mechs and kaijus fighting against each other, which is friggin' amazing.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
When was the book written?
I can't remember
Or
exactly.
published, I would say.
It's early 2000s. I mean, it's not like it's like super old.
Okay,
no.
That's what I was going to say, because it kind of seemed like with the fact that like they're throwing all these different Godzillas in there that it sounds kind of recent. You know what I mean? But
yeah, it was like I said, the movie was 2000. The novel was 2011. So yeah, it's not even that it's all that old either.
No,
so.
Dang. So the movie, I guess, really came out not too long after the book.
Yeah,
really.
it was
So
apparently when they bought the book, because I've looked a lot into it because I really liked it. They went straight into like
production for the movie.
Finding a movie and finding a buyer and everything else, which the book itself, if you bought the original paperback, they had it followed just like the movie where you could find hidden passages and hidden codes to find a real world Easter eggs and stuff, which is awesome. So
that is so.
It ended up leading to a website you can go to, and the first person to get to the website won a prize or something. Yeah, so
that is cool, man. See, I feel like I missed out on shit like that, man. Like
right.
I didn't know
anything
like
about it.
Like
and I'm like, I would have loved to, experience that for the first time.
That would have been cool, man. Like if like you actually it led you to an arcade or something like that, and maybe that game took a specific coin or something like that you had to find and put into the game and unlock something.
Yeah, well, like you were talking about arcades, and that's the first thing that hit my head is in the book. He, which I guess the leader or the main guy's Wade Watts, which is I can't remember his name in his version world. Not Artemis, that was the girl. But anyway,
it's been. I think the last time I seen that movie is actually when it came out.
Yeah,
so.
it's been a minute. I can't remember the names, but he goes to a place and in the center of it is a huge arcade ripped straight from the creator's world where it's just nothing but an arcade with the pizza place in it. And it's just like, you were talking about it, I'm like, it took me there.
Dang, man.
And then he has to play Pac-Man and get the top score. Cool. That's cool about the book because you find out things that, like, I didn't know there was a secret level on Pac-Man if you ever beat the game. I didn't even know Pac-Man could be beat.
Yeah, me either, yeah.
But apparently, like, the very last stage of Pac-Man, once you beat it, you can go off screen and there's like 5 hidden dots that you have to get. Like you don't see the dots, you see the Pac-Man going around the screen.
Whoa.
So yeah, like and they talk about it. That's how you get a perfect score on the game.
All right, that's so.
It blew my mind.
Book.
I'm like, yeah,
I gotta read this book.
And then, even when I was talking about how in the movie, I guess like Artemis gets arrested and they, she gets in, they put her into the suits and all the other stuff where she actually. The bad guys have her kidnapped.
Okay.
And that's how they bring for the final battle. There's that force field around the castle or whatever, and that's how they bring the force fields down. Is she gets kidnapped and she breaks it from inside. In the book, he actually gets himself kidnapped. Like he turns himself, like he goes and buys a fake ID and stuff and gets himself arrested and goes in and like literally works for the company for a week and then hacks everything from the interior. And it's really cool the way they do it in the book compared to the movie. The movie wasn't bad, but just to know what he went through and the balls it took to like get myself locked up to do this.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
It's a good book, which actually, and talk about the movie, the girl that played the bad guy's sidekick. That's actually the girl that plays Ghost in Thunderbolts.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so that's a nice little tie back.
Yeah,
to what we was talking about to start.
Yeah, like I've been wanting to get it more into actually like reading and stuff like that, and I've been listening to more audiobooks, but I want to like actually read,
sit down and read.
Yeah, like because I feel like I want to try to, not that I really had the biggest attention span, but I want to try to, strengthen it and get it to a point to where, I can focus on things for, an extended period of time rather than, seeing a squirrel and,
Right. Well, see, and that's what, like, I use audiobooks a lot. So I used to be a truck driver, and so I used them a bunch because I just throw an audiobook on. I'm on the road for 8 hours.
Right.
And it's like, that's 8 hours of a book. I can almost knock out a book in 2 days. And then also now, not driving, I use it cutting grass or doing dishes.
Right,
I'll just prop
right.
my phone up, let it play while I'm doing dishes. Gives me, because I'm concentrating on the dishes. I don't have to watch a screen.
Yeah.
Because I used to try to watch like Supernatural or something while I was up there, and that wasn't gonna work. But
that's another show I need to get into is Supernatural.
Man, 15 seasons worth of like.
Just worth watching every season.
Get just with WandaVision, give it time.
Yeah.
And then just when you think you got the show figured out, it flips the script for 10 more seasons.
I did like WandaVision, man. I was like, I was determined. I said, you know what? I'm going to sit here because I think this might have been like my third or fourth attempt to watch WandaVision. Like, no lie. And this time I was determined, and I was actually... Because Sydney likes to watch her shows and stuff like that. And I was like antsy, waiting for her to finish her show. I'm like, shit, man, I got to figure out what happened.
It grew on me.
It did. And I seen what you talking about, or what you were talking about last time about her brother, Quicksilver. I'm about to say the Silver Surfer.
Close enough. Yeah.
How, they're like mentioning, she's basically like coping and trying to or is it her doing that, like creating her brother, or was it Agatha?
It was Agatha that used that dude to make it think that was her brother.
Okay, right.
But it also tied into the Fox universe, which was cool. And so many small things they did with that show that was just...
it was cool.
And then I've watched Agatha all along. I'm not going to say it's bad. It's just different from everything I caught off of WandaVision.
Everybody was kind of like, I don't know, I guess hyping it up, to be honest. So I was wondering if it's that good.
It's good. But it's just, it's a female-driven cast.
Okay.
So that's also a little different. Good cast. The girls just kill it. I'm not even going to
I've seen that Aubrey Plaza's in there.
I watch it. Yeah. I ain't going to lie, dude.
She does, in a good way. I mean, it's in a good way. She does, strange and odd, very well. I've heard she's even in interviews, she can make you feel uncomfortable by just staring at you somehow.
Yeah, I've watched interviews where she's on Kimmel and stuff. Yeah, and she still stays in the weird persona. Yeah,
she doesn't
just to F with people, dude. And I like that too.
Is this just your character? Is this you, or are you in character at all times? Are you?
Yeah, but it's I hope they can continue the story, because we was talking about with Thunderbolts, and which we'll get into it more on Tuesday, but the way it ends, and then we talked about the Falcon, is he gonna have a team, and then we talk about Vision and what's gonna happen with him.
Yeah,
but I would love to see a Young Avengers make it to the big screen, and that ties into Agatha all along.
Isn't Miss Marvel part of the Young Avengers?
Yes,
if I'm not mistaken.
The Kamala.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is. Kate Bishop, which we was talking about, Haley Steinfeld.
So I mean, they kind of seem like they were trying to set that up.
Yeah, they got the characters there, and then they bring a character out of the woodwork. And I'm not trying to spoil it because you ain't seen it, but Agatha all along could lead into another member of it. So it's they have a few members that could. Okay. Even if you even go back to Ant-Man, his daughter.
Yeah.
She's a member. They could all be members, and you would have a new Avengers, Young Avengers, the original Avengers, X-Men.
Ironheart, maybe, or was she?
Ironheart. She would be younger version. So yeah. She,
I guess Thor would have been, the only.
Honestly, Secret Wars in the comics pulls from all these things. So I would love to see them do the same type of thing.
I mean, they're doing a Secret War, so I mean,
I know I'm nervously excited because I want to see where it all goes.
Yeah, and you want to see it done right, or at least you're satisfied. Okay, they did it, justice. I don't want, I know they took some liberties, but And
I've been thinking about this a lot recently. With the Avengers, you got. Well, we talking about 10 years worth of movies. I don't even remember 15 years. I don't know how long this has been going on. It just seems like forever.
Because Iron Man came out 2007 or 8, I will say.
So you're talking 7, and now you're talking 20.
That is so crazy that this has been going on for 20 years, bro.
Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah, so 18 years worth of this. 20 years.
If the entire Marvel universe or cinematic universe was a person, they'd be almost able to fucking drink legally.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
Well, yeah, don't you say that? Sebastian Stan, which is Bucky, said he's been doing it for 15 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, because he's like, I was in my mid-20s when I started this, and now he's like 40-something. So
that is so crazy.
But what I was gonna say is like, part of me when they announced Robert Downey Jr. as Doom, I was upset. Not because they brought Robert Downey Jr. back, because that man could. If you've seen Tropic Thunder, you can find humor in everything he ever does, and he's good at it. You know.
Even was it Due Date? I watched that like a couple weeks ago. That was good.
Sherlock, Due Date, Tropic Thunder, like his early stuff. Every one of them's good. He just got cracked out for a while. But I'm not mad that he's there because I think he's going to do amazing.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want more.
Yeah.
I want Doom to be like the villain that shows up in all the Fantastic Four's movies. The Doom that just shows up and destroys people here and there and just different things. But then I started thinking, I don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
I just need good movies.
I can see what you mean.
So you're going to give me Fantastic Four. I'm sure Doom shows up somewhere in there.
Oh,
you're going to give me Doomsday. You're going to have that. And then you have Secret Wars. That'll probably be the end of Doom.
Mm-hmm.
That's another 4 years. Well, I guess it's 27 is when they say it'll be done. So 3 more years worth of Robert Downey Jr. playing these roles.
Yeah.
And if he says that's it, that's it. Then I'm like, well, what about my other Fantastic Four? You got to have Doom. You got to have. But then I'm like, well, then you're going to be going into the X-Men series. And then you could give me 5-10 years worth of X-Men. I don't need these Avengers anymore. Not to be that guy, but I'm gonna still be excited about the next X-Men, especially if they do what they're doing now.
I will say this about
the past 20 years.
I'll say this about the X-Men. Was it Days of Future Past? People have gotten me because I've been watching YouTubers and whatnot, and a lot of people have been talking about how that movie is probably one of the best X-Men movies. I've seen it, but I forgot just exactly how good it was until I watched the scene with the whole like Sentinels coming and like basically killing everybody. How they adapted, they basically adapted to every single mutant, like whether
over time, yeah,
exactly. Whether it was like Bobby Drake, like you thought that they had him at one point until like he started to heat up to the point to where Bobby Drake's powers was Iceman's powers weren't working, or even Sunspot, like his powers weren't working because he cooled down adapted to Bobby Drake's powers to where he can cool down and pretty much like stop Sunspot from melting the Sentinel, and so many different it was crazy. Like they had the mutants up against the wall, up in a corner to where it was it. We
got to fix this.
Yeah, and it was a great storyline, sending Wolverine back to the past in his old body, like his old conscious to his young body and whatnot. Which that's actually a cool,
and it worked because he's the only person that was literally
his
the
mind
only physical person you could do that to.
Yeah, because his mind is just that. I don't want to say. I don't know, like he's been through so much to where it's just like I don't think anymore. But
they tied both versions together too, which was awesome.
Yeah, I gotta watch that movie again.
And part of me don't want part of me is upset to see that rebooted. To be honest, I don't know that I want to see another
Wolverine,
Patrick Stewart and even James McAvoy. That's my it's hard to think we're gonna have a new one in a few years.
Right? Yeah, and we talked about Michael Fassbender being like
an excellent
fucking Magneto, bro.
Him on the train, just crushing the car,
and that wasn't even like a flex for him either. Like it
was so calm and relaxed.
He's like,
but even if we're talking about movies, though, just think they've done 20 years off of a character nobody cared about.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you just go straight to Iron Man, people thought it was going to fail because Robert Downey Jr. was in it and because nobody heard of Iron Man.
Yeah.
Everybody could tell you they've heard of Iron Man, but nobody really, he was not the one.
I actually watched his 90s animated
yeah,
because he had the little suitcase, which was a cool nod in the second movie.
Second one when he had the suitcase
that was cool. I was like, yo, it's like I reverted back to a child in that moment whenever he did that, man. And like not Iron Man, but War Machine, because I played the Marvel vs. Capcom games and shit like that too. But I also remember back in the 90s animated series that James Avery was the voice of War Machine.
Okay, yeah.
So he was voice of Shredder, voice of War Machine. So James Avery was out there voice acting like any other, veteran voice actor out there, So shout out to him, R.I.P. James Avery, man, for real. Like he
gone
was
but not forgotten.
Yeah, exactly. Like this dude was just, oh man, James Avery was was legit. Uncle Phil, if you don't know who I'm talking about, Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince. James Avery was the voice of Shredder in the original animated Turtle series, as well as War Machine in the 90s series of Iron Man, which was pretty cool, if you ask me. But I got a question about WandaVision. Do you think when Vision, spoiler alert, when Vision, like, did he transfer his consciousness or his memory into that?
The white Vision?
Yeah.
I think so.
So do you think that was like Vision being reborn into this world again? Yeah. Okay, that's what I was wondering, because he just flew off. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel he not only that, but he's conflicted.
Yeah.
All the pain, hurt, like, even if you go back to the very first time Vision's on the screen, like, he sympathized with Ultron. He believed in him. He kind of like agreed with him.
Exactly. I just actually watched Age of Ultron like a couple days ago, because like
that holds up here. I'm not saying Infinity and Endgame are bad by any means. But I kind of wish they gave Ultron the Infinity Endgame treatment. Give him 2 movies. Cause
exactly.
James Spader was so good as Ultron. Bro. And you could have built it up even more instead of just rushing it all into one.
Like, whenever he came, while they were, like, sitting around having their little party and shit like that, that was so creepy.
That was the ultimate, like,
Yeah, that was so creepy. But, oh, my God, that was such a great movie. And, like, Wanda pretty much, like, taking over the Hulk's mind and shit like that. And the Hulkbuster. Like, in the fucking floating city.
Into one movie.
Yeah. And, like, the city, like, floating. And they were saying that, like, because he was basically wanting to cause them, what do you call those? Mass extinction level event or something like that.
Basically creating his own
meteorite. Yeah. Like, by taking that city, shooting it up, and then, like, letting it drop, and it was going to be like a meteor hitting the Earth, essentially, like the dinosaurs.
And so you can start all over.
Yeah, and they had to figure out, like, at what point was it too far in the air? It's like everything about it was just so dope, bro.
So if you look all the way into fast forwarding into Secret Wars, Secret Wars plays a big on, like, villains. It's I can't remember who the bad guy is, but the Beyonder, I think's his name.
Right.
He creates these worlds and puts people together, like, brings the heroes and villains of worlds to battle, because he just wants. It's a game to him.
Yeah. Kind of like the Collector, like he likes to collect
very
people.
Much, yeah. And he pulls all these different factions and makes it. And so when they pull all these factions, you have sometimes where the evil people and the good guys even team up.
Yeah.
But some of the big names in the Secret Wars comic series was Doctor Doom, which is honestly the main character of it if you really break it down.
Right.
But then you also had Ultron, you had Kang, you had a lot of the names that's already shown up. But like Ultron, you got defeated. I'd really like to see if they do Vision series, which is apparently they're doing it, if hopefully comes out next year before Secret Wars.
Yeah.
I would love to see that series bring Ultron back. James Spader's just got to do a voice anyway. He don't have to act.
Exactly.
So, but you could bring it back right before Secret Wars, so then it just gives another huge big bad for them to fight that has to deal with.
I mean, because I really do feel like it did leave me wondering if that last remnant of, Ultron was it. You know what I mean? It just didn't feel like it was. It just felt like, okay, I feel like something, something's up. Like he did. Ultron is probably, I'm sure he's too smart to, like,
let that.
Yeah, like he had to have a contingency plan. You know what I mean? So
it'd be great if he even backed himself up into Vision, and then now that he's been rebooted, that's where he finds that bit that he can rebuild his body off of. Because I mean, Vision was created to be his ultimate body.
Right, exactly.
So that's how Jarvis's voice and everything got put into Vision, is because
I mean, him being AI, you would be able to predict certain things. You know what I mean?
Probabilities and prediction. Yeah,
exactly. So he would, like, be able to predict, like, all these events happening. I mean, I guess, even though he was defeated, so that maybe he didn't predict that, but there should be, like, a fail-safe that he would have, implemented or something like that. Should have.
In the comics, he does. He gets beat all the time, and then comes back because he has contingency plan after contingency plan. And
which I didn't realize I guess the first time around, because I guess I didn't realize who Amadeus Cho was, but that was his mom that was like, building, helping him build
that
Ultron.
He ended up killing afterwards.
Yeah.
Or shooting. I don't know if she technically dies, but
I think she might have been wounded because you believe that she was killed, but I think she was just wounded. But yeah, that was Amadeus Cho, his mom, who was helping Ultron, because they mentioned either I saw the badge, her name on the badge,
put it together. And she
mentions
her son or something like that. Yeah.
So I feel like they were trying to
Small
hit something towards that.
Man.
Yeah,
and I mean, man, there's just so many ways to get, it's never ending.
Do you think they're gonna do like a World War Hulk?
I was hoping that's the next thing I was going to.
I'm hoping, bro. I'm hoping.
Now that you've shown Red Hulk, and I've heard that that's not it for Harrison Ford. Like, he's going to do more, which at 80-something years old, we'll figure it out. I'm not saying...
Man, I like him as the Red Hulk. He looked good.
It was a great fill-in for William Hurt, who passed away.
Yeah.
Like, it was a perfect, I need a name. Let's throw it on there. And they even referenced his mustache being gone. Yeah. They told me to be a president, I got to get rid of the mustache.
Right,
that's why I look different.
Yeah.
It's a small line, but
but that scares me because I wish they would have casted somebody younger.
I get nervous when shows rely on older actors for that reason, especially with I want to see more.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
That Red Hulk, I want my Hulk to be like it. Give me that in a Hulk.
Yes,
that thunderclap took down buildings.
Yeah, he was so good.
His leap, he leaped from the White House
and it just
spun
crumbled.
on the Washington Monument. And you're give me that.
That was so good. I will say that they could do, I don't know if you're familiar with the Agents of Smash, man.
Yes.
They got all of them. Well, they got the Abomination, they got Scar. They introduced She-Hulk, Red Hulk, even the Hulk, so they can do their own Agents of Smash if they wanted to.
So a perfect time to do it would be right after Secret Wars, because in Secret Wars, I'm not saying he was Smart Hulk, but part of the fallout of the first Secret Wars is Hulk gets his animalistic rage back. He becomes more less civilized and more of the rage beast that he is. So it's that's a perfect time to take him from Smart Hulk, give him back into the Hulk.
Yeah, man.
Because it's a cool thing they did, being able to meld the two and everything. Yeah. It was great for the movie. But now I miss the Hulk.
I do, man.
Just I wish they wouldn't have nerfed him and been too scared to fight Thanos. Because I would have just loved to see one more brawl.
Because that's what doesn't make sense to me. The Hulk isn't afraid of anybody. He has to prove that he's the strongest there is. There's no question to it. There's no, I got beat. No, he was not going to stop.
Well, and with the Hulk, his anger and his rage builds his strength. That's why his power is unlimitless.
Right, yeah.
Or, limitless is because he can always get stronger. So it would have been better to see him come back and fight again. Honestly, he would have been a perfect person to have that they used Captain Marvel for, where she was starting to overpower him until the things fired. That would have been great to have the Hulk versus Thanos on the battlefield.
Yeah, it would have been, man. God.
Just to show that he is stronger now that he's not scared.
Yeah, the fact that he was scared is that's and what other iteration have you heard of the Hulk being scared? You know what I mean? At all?
Movie wise, I guess it played all right. For the casual fan,
yeah,
it was great. But yeah, you killed the Hulk. You nerfed him so bad that
yeah, man.
And then you bring the Red Hulk, and who's amazing. Even in the brief screen time he was on, give me that Hulk. I need that Hulk.
Yeah, because again, when I was watching Age of Ultron, man, I was like, damn, dude. This is it, dude. This is the Hulk right here, man.
They always talk about the 100 men versus a gorilla, and all I can think of is the Hulk scene with Loki, where he's just pounding him into the ground, because that's what that gorilla's going to do to some 180-pound dude that thinks he can step up.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, man. That was so good, man. Yeah, it makes me want to watch Age of Ultron again, to be honest.
And I also liked it because he couldn't be trusted. Even in Age of Ultron, him and Thor standing side by side, and he punches Thor. Yeah, it's he's all about himself and it was such a good character. Even
which I don't know, it's weird to me because I've always liked the fact that all he's ever wanted was to be alone. You know,
Yes.
like in the Edward Norton, like he would just because before he showed his face, he says, "Leave me alone," and then like they do something, and then he shows his face, like like don't fuck with me, bro.
Yeah.
Like it's it, like that's all he ever
Well,
wants.
even when they found Mark Ruffalo in the movies, like when they recast him and everything else, he's in a cabin all by himself in like some Spanish speaking place, like where they have to surround it in the middle of the desert because he did not want to be found.
That makes sense why he was in a Spanish speaking place because that's where Edward Norton left off. Yeah. That man.
Yeah, because it was going to be Edward. I'm contracts or something. Who knows what? Or name was too big for the movies. They can say contract, but let's be honest. Like, you rather pay Mark Ruffalo, who where people kind of know him, or you want to pay Edward Norton, Oscar nominated actor.
Yeah. I can't remember, like, he wanted to do certain things with the Hulk, but I think they weren't wanting to, like, because I guess maybe he wanted to, I don't say play director, but.
Well, and then let's be honest, like, who knew it was going to be what it was 20 years later? We're talking just 4 years, like, Avengers was like 2011. It wasn't like it was yesterday. You know, we're talking.
That's when they announced Avengers. It was in that movie. At the end credit scene, Tony Stark comes into Thunderbolt Ross at the bar.
So, you're talking the last Edward Norton movie was literally
the start.
Like, God.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like the whole, because some people considered the new Captain America movie like a Hulk Part 2. Do you feel like that was?
It really, I mean, it was a good tie-in / sequel too.
Yeah, it was.
Because you found out what the leader's been up to. You found out like Thunderbolt Ross is now president, which leads all the movies he's hit between them. But
they even used those same sonic cannons that they used against Hulk in that field. Yeah, you know what I mean. I guess Falcon and Captain America. You know what I mean. So it's just like so many different elements from like. Fucking
and even had Liv Tyler show up at the very end. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, bro. This is a fucking sequel, man.
Well, and then I saw where they actually apparently shot more scenes with her, but they felt that it didn't have the same impact as in having her show up just at the very end.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Because it wasn't about the Hulk. It's not about her, like, their relationship's strained. So you show, like, is she ever going to be there? You know, will she even talk to him? And she finally talks to him on the phone. Mm-hmm. And then he puts himself in prison on the raft.
Yeah.
I'd love to see more of the raft, man.
Yeah, I know, man. I know.
They even teased it in Thunderbolts. Like,
right.
You know, or was it Thunderbolts where...
Was it the Avengers that they were... Or was it like... No, it was after Civil War, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. Thunderbolts or could have been even Captain America where they mentioned like, I was sitting on the raft for... Like, you know, while you were celebrating, I was on the raft.
Right. That's cool. What was I gonna say? It had to do with the new Captain America movie. I want to say, man, I forgot.
They even teased the upcoming Doomsday and Secret Wars at the end of Captain America with the leader. He said, "You're soon to battle more than just this world," or something like that. There's other worlds coming. Yeah.
I do, man. I think maybe I just love the Hulk. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think that's just what it boils down to. So like I like seeing just the Hulk action, man, and it's just like
I mean, and there's so much more I want from even Deadpool did the Hulk better than the Hulk's been done recently. Yeah. And you don't even see him technically full fledged on screen. You get a little bit of a clip in Wolverine's claws. And
that was cool, man.
Like, I want, because now it's going to have the Wolverine back. Like, you can give me Hugh Jackman versus the Hulk. Because it seems like Hugh Jackman was, like, revitalized to do it. You know?
Yeah, he wants to do it. Which, I mean, I know he's older now, too, though. But, you know, I mean, stunt doubles and stuff like that will probably be able to help out.
So, Deadpool did a series after Secret Wars where it's Deadpool's Secret Wars. Mm-hmm. And I've also heard Ryan Reynolds said this is what he wanted Deadpool 3 to be. They ended up twisting it and everything else. Once they found out Hugh Jackman might do it, they changed stories, which I don't blame him. But one of the things he wanted to do was reshoot all the scenes of the previous Avenger movies and Iron Man movies. Yeah. And say he was there. Yeah. just as in a not important character in all these important moments. And that's what the movie would be, is like the Battle of Sokovia, and he was there, just nobody cared.
Right.
Because he's not part of the team or whatever. And just so him being able to interact with everybody, like,
that would be a good movie.
That would be a good next Deadpool, is after Secret Wars, you throw Deadpool in it and reshoot some of the scenes from Secret Wars with all the characters and let...
It'll take you back, you know what I mean? It'll take you back to all those moments, like, oh shit, that's, and it would be so much like comedic, like humor, just
right. Like, he doesn't need to interact in it with their movie. He needs them to interact in his movie.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what makes it different.
Yeah, like, that'd be cool, man.
But
oh shit,
he's just like, same with Hugh Jackman and Wolverine, and Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool, and like we was talking about, Fassbender. Like, there's some character people just like embody the character, and I can't
be replaced.
Like Iron Man, I don't see anyone ever doing it besides Downey.
Right.
Even Thor, I have trouble. Like,
I know.
Hemsworth kind of just nailed Thor, and
my brother-in-law feels that Triple H would have made a good Thor.
He's got the look. Well, he had the look. Now he's bald. But,
I know.
Or shaved head. But
I've seen people like doing like a what do you call that? What is that called? Photoshop of him as Kratos. You know what I mean?
He would do. Yeah, he would do good. Like, he's got the good look for Kratos now. Yeah.
I mean, because it makes sense that like a lot of wrestlers are good actors, because essentially they are.
That's
acting,
what they are. Yeah, that's what they do. So, just a lot. They're also their own stuntmen.
Exactly. So they can. I mean, well, depending with them being older now and stuff like that, they can do a decent amount of stunt work probably.
Stuff,
but I mean, I can see him being Kratos and whatnot.
That would be a good mini series. The only reason I say that over a movie is because you can't stretch that many gods into one movie. So you'd have to make 2 or 3. You'd have to plan on Gods of War being like at least a trilogy.
Yeah.
Because, give me 6 hours or 8 hours worth of it, I'm down.
And like Zeus have to be at the very end.
Yeah, he's going to fight his way through the gods.
Yeah, exactly.
And then each episode, just like Thanos sitting above everybody, it's going to be, Zeus sitting above everybody, mourning the loss of another one of his kids.
Yeah. And, it'd be... I do like seeing stuff like that. I like seeing, Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, and all the different gods and shit.
Speaking of books, I got obsessed. Started it with my oldest son, which is now 25. But I started him on the Percy Jackson books when he was a teenager. Okay. And now I've read every one of them. Because it's Greek mythology, and then it got into Roman mythology. And there's even one on Egyptian mythology.
Damn.
Like, it's got a little spin into Egyptian. It's only a 3-book series. And then there's one on Norse mythology. So, like, I've read all 20 books.
Dang, all 20?
Yeah,
wow.
Let's see. There's 5 in the Percy Jackson. There's 5 in Heroes of Olympus. There's 5 in Trials of Apollo. 3 in the Egyptian series, which it sucked, but I finished it. And then I think there's only 3 books in the Norse mythology. So you're talking 21 books, I guess.
Right. Damn, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So they're that
and then
good?
My bad. And I read the 2 sequels that they just came out with recently, so that's 2 more. But
so you feel like they're that good?
Yeah. Even as a kid, man, like as a teenager, that's what it was meant for. It's young adult, but like, dude, I'm hooked on mythology anyway, and
I am too.
It's cool how they spin it to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have to suspend belief that much to make it work. Because you're talking about a normal middle schooler and Greek gods interacting. It's like, really? Why would there be Greek gods in America?
Right. And
they spin it like saying that, well, when the Greek gods came about, that was the strongest part of the earth. That's where the center point of the world was Greece.
Oh, shit.
And then as the power moved west, then they became Roman gods. Because the power moved with them.
Right.
And then now the biggest power in the world is America.
Right.
So the center point of America is New York. So that's why the power, and that's why the Greek gods have moved to New York. It's because they stare where the power of the universe is.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So silly things like that, it's like, hold on. Man, that actually kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
it's like, you really put thought into this.
I mean, and that's good, man. As it should be.
Like, it spins off of saying ADHD and dyslexia is because so the whole concept is there's gods that are behind the scenes, and then their children because they love to have kids.
Right.
You read any of the Greek things, everybody's sleeping with everybody.
Yeah, it's just kids everywhere.
So there's half-bloods everywhere, which are demigods.
Right.
And like Hercules or whatever, the heroes, and that's what they are. But you don't know you are until your like family claims you. But the monsters that were around is just still around too, just because like gods, there's monsters.
Mm-hmm.
And the demigods are part Greek or eventually part Roman too, but they don't say that at first. But and part of that is your ADHD and your dyslexia. ADHD is your battle skills. You always know everything that's going around you because you're paying attention to everything. It's inherited battle skills. And then dyslexia is because your mind's triggered to read Greek writing instead of American writing. So that's why that's why it's like it's weird things like that. You're like, hold on. That's actually plausible. Like that makes sense. And this, even within a story, it's like, hold on.
Because I mean, I do feel like you are, hyper aware when, with ADHD,
Man, when I was growing up, all the hyper kids were the ones that was always in a fight. And I was and it was the ADHD kids.
Well,
it was like.
Just like me, even when I'm cleaning, I got like, okay, so like say in this room, I got something in this hand, I got something in that hand, I got, my mind elsewhere. Like I'm like in more places, and I told my therapist, because I started seeing a therapist again.
Good thing, all people need to do
it. I support that 100%. I told her that like I get to a point to where like I'm trying to do too many things at once to where I get stuck in one place for like a few minutes. Because like I say in the mornings when I'm trying to leave for work and I got the shower running and I'm trying to pick out my cologne for the day and oh shoot, did I take the dog out? Did I do this? Like and then I'm stuck in the middle and then like in the middle of this room and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get going, because the shower, like I said, the shower's running and shit. So I'm just like, that makes sense, your mind is
triggers you and makes you aware of everything.
Yeah, you are like, and I think that's why, honestly, I think that's another reason why, like, ADHD people are empaths. Because they're just hyper aware and like
very in tune with everybody,
right? And I think when you're more sensitive, you can pick up people's emotions more, and I think I can be a sensitive dude, because I guess I think it's like a defense mechanism as well, because growing up there's been certain things that's happened and you need to your body as a survival mechanism to pick up the different vibrations when they shift, what I mean. So like if everything's good, you're trying to detect when everything shifts into, okay, we got to get out of here type shit, you know what I mean? Or whatever we got to do, get ready for.
That's funny because that's actually ties into the book too. That's another ability that forms over time is that they're aware of when something's not right.
Yeah, exactly. And I say this, I've said this on a podcast, I think, but I really can feel people before I see them.
Yeah, I mean? I believe in that stuff. Yeah.
Like I work with someone and it's gotten to the point to where it's almost like I can feel them because I go to Kroger after work and I'm like,
and they're there. You sense it, like,
and they're there, and they are there. They are there. It is so it's crazy. Not saying it's all really tied to Greek and all that shit, but I really do think that it has something.
And that's one of the reasons I always loved reading. Which when I was younger, it was always horror because. I really don't know. I was just fascinated with gore and horror.
Yeah.
So, I've read, I don't know. I could probably list them all, but I went through the whole Stephen King library when I was younger.
Really?
Like, I went to Carrie, It.
How many books does he have?
Man, I even started when he was Richard Bachman.
Oh,
and he was writing under a pseudonym, like The Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
That's his book. That's a Stephen King book. It was under Richard Bachman. It was part of a short story collection.
Damn.
Which they're rebooting that in December. Talk about movie wise, it's gonna be I can't remember his name, but anyway, it's one of the new dude that was in Twisters.
Oh yeah,
I'm just blank on his name.
Yeah.
He's gonna be
I really knew his name, to be honest.
Yeah, but he's gonna be in it. But yeah, I mean, there's Dark Half, Needful Things, It, Carrie, Salem's Lot. All the horror movies from the 80s usually came from a Stephen King book. Like Carrie, It, Yeah, they were all his.
Yeah, I was aware of like Carrie and It and
Pet Cemetery, Carrie, It.
Wasn't Misery?
Misery, The Shining, Dark Tower series, which is like 5 books. Needful Things was a movie. Salem's Lot's been done like 3 times. Maximum Overdrive was one of his movies or books.
Speaking of like horror, I mean, with like Ryan Coogler like diving into the horror genre, he said he was influenced by what's his name, Jordan Peele.
Yeah,
like with his Get Out and Us and all that stuff. Like that's what like a lot of people are making like comparisons and similarities. Saying that they're similar. Yeah, he basically is saying that like he was inspired by Jordan Peele. And he even had him on his podcast, like asking him, like, what was your, motivation for making this movie and this, that, and the other. And apparently Get Out he had that script made for like 10 years before it was made into a movie. He just like didn't find the right person who wanted to actually like invest in the movie. Yeah. And when he did, the person wanted him to find a director. He couldn't find one, and so he came to the conclusion that I think it's got to be me. And so that's when he reached back out to the person who was funding the movie, and he's like, I really don't think there's anybody else who can do it but me. And he's
then he's found his calling.
Yeah,
like, he's great at comedy, but his horror movies are just like top notch.
Yeah, because he felt like Mad TV was kind of like holding him back. You know what I mean? Like he really felt like even Bobby Lee said like with him being on Mad TV, it wasn't really like. You kind of really see an end goal. You know what I mean? It really kind of felt like they weren't like utilizing their talents like they wanted to. You know what I mean? They had their sights set on bigger things than Mad TV was. They wanted it to be a stepping stone, but it didn't really feel like it was.
They wanted it to be a lot like Living Color was. Yeah. Where everybody just skyrocketed careers off of it.
That and was Saturday Night Live. Like that was their biggest competition was
during Mad TV, definitely.
Right. But I watched Mad, you know what I mean?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch Saturday Night Live.
It was more my humor.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I've always felt that as an older person, I definitely feel it. Saturday Night Live is definitely built for older audiences. Comedy.
It is, yeah.
Where Mad TV was built like for the teenage, early 20s comedy.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Mad
TV. But speaking of Jordan Peele, there's a new horror movie come out. That's what I looked up to back up what I thought I already knew. But he actually fired his manager because he didn't get the movie. That's how good this script apparently is.
Damn.
It's called Weapons.
Oh, shit.
And it's about all these kids in this town mysteriously disappear at night. Mm-hmm. All the kids are from the same 2nd grade class. And that's all you know about from the trailer. That's all it gives into you.
So does the whole 2nd grade class disappear or just like some kids?
No, the whole class from the teacher. The one teacher, her whole class is gone. Like the other 2nd graders are there. The other kids in the school's there.
Damn.
Her class, they all disappear in the middle of the night. So, of course, everybody's questioning her. Why is it your class? But, yeah, it's just... Then the trailer gets real creepy with like flashes of dark screens and like a dark screen with just one lit up kid and just all kinds of... But yeah, he fired his manager over not getting a script because it was so good he wanted to direct it. So, which makes me want to see it even more for him to fire his management team over it.
I mean, shit, that movie with Marlon Wayans, that looks like, we're going to see. I mean, Marlon has done a few dramatic roles and whatnot.
He's not bad. Like, he was good in the... I guess biopic of Jordan, where they're talking about Nike or whatever. He wasn't bad in that.
Yeah, and I mean, he looked like he's going to do a pretty good job in this movie. He really does. Like, I'm actually, it's crazy because like I'm not really like the biggest like horror fan, but that like his movies actually want to make me watch them. Because they seem so interesting and they kind of like I don't know, it's
Jordan
psychological horror.
Is a lot like we was talking about with off air about Sinners and Ryan Coogler. They make you think.
Yeah.
It's not just a horror movie.
Yeah, it's not a one and done,
there's so much layers to it. The scares are there, and with Jordan Peele, they're even better than, like I said, Ryan Coogler's Sinners is a movie about race and a whole lot of different facets with vampires thrown in.
Right.
Where, like, even Get Out, it's obviously about racism and everything else, but you throw the horror mix into it, and he throws it way more than other movies, and it's just like, it hits hard.
I mean, yeah, because, like, Get Out was basically, like, how they used to, like, sell slaves back in the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that was just basically they would, you know,
we're going to bring you here, we're going to trap you into it, and now you're a slave.
Yeah, exactly. We see what African Americans, like, they're physically are capable of, and so we want to basically, like, commandeer your body. You know what I mean? So
we want the newer, younger body. Yeah, like, that's the whole concept behind what slavery was in the back.
I'll tell you one thing, man. Like, I've never felt like so much anxiety in a movie until whenever he was falling down in that, like, dark, like, abyss. Essentially,
oh yeah,
like I really wanted to get out, bro. Like, I was like,
there's certain movies that just make you feel them, and which I'm not, like, as I've gotten older, I fell out of the horror genre, like, as much as I did. Also, because
I feel like
I believe, and a lot of times they've gone into supernatural, and when it gets into a supernatural horror, I'm out because I believe too much, so then I scare the crap out of myself.
Oh, I kind of feel like, you know, they've kind of, like, I feel like it's like in waves. They go in and out, you know, say it might be everything horror for a little bit. And then for, like, you know, maybe 10 years or something like that, you don't really get
it takes a back seat. Yeah. And then it comes back in droves. Right.
Because, I mean, freaking, what's that movie? Final Destination is back.
It's back. Yeah. Which I actually watched that yesterday.
Was it any good?
It's not out yet. So I watched the bootleg copy.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. It's, it ties every movie that's been made together.
Man, I remember the first one, dude.
It's just, I don't find it as good. I missed, like, the earlier ones I liked better.
Yeah.
I kind of saw where this one was going.
That's no good.
Oh, and not that it was, like, easy to spot, but it was just like, I'd already kind of heard some things, and I saw something in the trailer. And then once again, talk about trailer spoiling something. I'm like, I'm watching this movie. I'm like, that scene hadn't happened. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, bro. Oh,
never mind. Yeah. Like, I know what's about to happen.
Because when they do stuff like that, it's like, say, when you watch a trailer and you're waiting, it's like you're almost waiting for that one scene to happen. You know what I mean? And
that's why, like, trailers have gotten bad, man.
Yeah, they have, man. And I think that's, like, again, when we were talking about the whole movie experience, I really feel like that's kind of ruining the movie experience.
Like, it's one thing to go into it with, like, oh, I don't want to see any spoilers.
Yeah.
But then they spoil the good parts. And, like, you know, we was talking about Captain America. Like, if you didn't tell me Red Hawk was in it, I would have still went and seen it. I would have freaking exploded finding out. You know, just like the whole, you know, like, I'm not to say Minecraft by any means, good God, but, like, Chicken Jockey and all the things they've done, like, and just honoring different people in Minecraft with the Pig King.
So what's the thing with the popcorn? Like, everybody, like...
Teenagers and 20-year-olds need to be shot. I'm not going to give them 20. But they're just dumb, immature kids getting rowdy over popcorn. Like, just in throwing stuff during the Chicken Jockey scene. Like, it's just...
So what makes them...
stupid.
Like, why who
nothing
started
from the movie
it? Why they just... Somebody started... It's a trend?
Yeah, TikTok started it, and so people just jump all over it. And
I swear, bro. Like, I am anti-trend, bro. Like, I am... Oh, I hate a trend. I hate a fucking trend, bro.
Well, that's what my daughter, she's got a friend that does TikToks, but she's starting to actually get big. And I told her to get into online sales, man, on TikTok.
Okay.
The advertising, like, you know, we talk about your clones and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you make a TikTok where you can, they do those things on Amazon where you can set up your account where if they buy this, you get
like affiliate.
Yeah, where you get proceeds if they buy this water, type of water.
Right.
Man, sell that shit on your TikTok.
Yeah.
You get it blown up, start making sales like that. Now you're getting content money from you know, people watching and liking and subscribing.
Right.
And then you're also going to get money on top of it for selling products through your video.
Yeah.
You know, you show them how this audio equipment works, and all of a sudden you advertise the audio equipment, you put a little post in there where they can click, go instantly to Amazon, buy it.
Yeah.
They saw how good your equipment works. Bam, you just got to sell right there instead of...
Honestly, like, this audio interface, I don't want to say it's like the top of the line shit, but I really haven't figured out what it can't do yet.
Right. Everything you wanted it to do, it's been able to
more.
match.
Like, it really, like, I can really probably sit down and do a whole fucking podcast
just
about just that
cool
audio. Yeah, because I, like, say if somebody wasn't able to make it for whatever reason, I'm like, yo, you just call me, I can hook up the phone to it, and we can still have you
have the audio come just as clear through it.
Yeah, man. I can program, like, so many different sound effects, like sound bites and stuff like that. I think,
stuff
like,
you even toyed with yet.
Yeah. Like, there's so much I haven't really done with it. Like, you could even, like, take that on the go and get, like, one of those little SD cards and put it in there, and it records to the SD card rather than having to say if I don't have my laptop that day, and I got an SD card.
So you could take it, set up somewhere, record onto it, come back, put it on the laptop.
Exactly.
Release your stuff.
I'm telling you, it's almost like its own computer, essentially, man.
Yeah. No, and see, like I told my daughter, I think that's where, I've seen it other places. It's not my idea 100%, but I think that's where, like, 5 years from now, that's where you need to be. Like,
yeah.
I hate trends. I hate the stupid stuff coming from TikTok. I hate the people just like...
If it's like a good, useful trend, fine. Okay, I'll give you that. But when it comes to, like, that whole, like, chicken jack stuff or, people bothering people in a fucking mall, minding their business and
walking up and, like, smacking people and just walking, like, just to get likes because you walk up and sucker punch a homeless guy or something. Man, like, just what?
Like, yeah, that shit, bro. Like, that shit's lame, dude. That is 100% lame. And it's like, like, people are... the mob wives and shit like that. Like, all these women wanted to, like, dress like they're a mob wife or something like that. And just so many different things. It's like, not that I'm not, okay, I know podcast is essentially a trend, but not that, like, it's like, do you have an original thought, bro? Like, you see somebody, I get that you can appreciate this for that. But
podcast is a trend, but podcast is a trend that's different than everything else. And the reason I say that is because with podcasts, to me, that ain't no different than all of us sitting around in the basement smoking weed back in the day, and we all just tell each other, man, hey, man, did you see Thunderbolts last night? And now we're all talking about Thunderbolts. And then we all sitting in the arcades, and we're in the... Because this is what people's always done. We've always sat around and chatted, whether it's over a wine glass, whether it's over a joint, whether it's just passing time.
Right. To me, it always reminded me of, like, those conversations. I remember I've seen a meme of this. It was like one of those, like, back patio tables, the glass patio table.
Yeah.
And it was a meme that said everybody's had, like, a deep conversation at one of these at one point in their life. And I remember, like, my buddy, like, he has that exact table, and we sat there talking about, like, astronomy and all that shit. Like, we were, like, deep, bro. I related to that fucking meme so hard. And, that's what I feel like podcasts are. You know what I mean? And, like, sometimes you don't really have to have a fucking topic.
No.
Just like
tonight, we're just winging it. Yeah, but like that's what I grew up with. That's what just like
exactly,
you said,
bro.
Sitting there talking. This little section right here, we started talking about was trailers. Like it's
that
streams.
70s show. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's where our life was.
Like, camera panning from one person to the next. God damn, bro. Speaking of podcasts and that 70s show, like Wilbur Valderrama, I can't pronounce his name. I'm
Close
sorry.
Enough. Wilbur.
He just had Topher Grace as, like, their first guest because I was listening to the radio because I don't really listen to radio in my car, but my wife was listening to Spotify, and so we only had, like, if I'm listening,
can only go one way or the other.
Yeah. So I just, like, hit the radio button because she was starting to play some country music. I'm like, nope. But
override.
Exactly. So, but I heard, like, the advertisement for their podcast, and so I put that on the back burner so I can listen to just Wilmer and Topher just go back and forth about that 70s show and shit like that.
Man, I felt like that's been my niche recently. Like I've listened to a lot of the self-helps with we've talked about the past with like Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum and but I've really fell into the talking, like actors talking about the shows they were on. Like I've listened, like I've got like 4 of them going because I found 4 different ones. But what are you listening to? There's Talkville, which is Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum, which was Lex Luthor and Clark Kent talking about going back through Smallville episodes, and they have guests on there. And
what's it called?
Talkville.
Cool.
And it's like you can watch along if it's watch along podcast, technically what it is, but they'll tell you which episode they're talking about. Or it may just be a special episode where they have like the guy that played Lex Luthor's dad on there, and they were just talking to him the whole episode. And Like they got one for that. They got one for Supernatural. They've got one for like Bones, like the TV show Bones, which I used to watch with my wife all the time, and like so I fell into that just to hear, and it's cool. They talk to like producers and they talk to directors, and you find out behind the scenes crap that you wouldn't find just listening to some random podcast.
They even, I don't know if you ever watched Nessie Classified School Survival Guide.
Yeah,
back on YouTube, but they even get their own like Nessie Classified. Podcast survival guide or something like that. Yeah, I watched that for a little bit, but
man, it's a whole different show than this.
Yeah, it's like
because they're grown up now.
Yeah, and they just talk about like one person talking about being addicted and rehab, and this, that, and the other.
She's like, I got head for the first time on the show, and it's like, you remember that between scenes, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, I'm like, hold on, save me.
I was listening to it one time and I was going to pick up my son in middle school, and I was like, oh, turn it down, because I wasn't expecting it
to. That is crazy, because I think I've seen that on Reddit that some people were bashing the podcast because of that.
I don't mind them being real. That's it's like
I get that. But
but at the same time, let me know you're gonna be real.
Don't think this is just like kind of like spoiler alert. This is exactly what we like, the fact that we have our old friends here. But for your family's sake, this is the type of shit we're gonna be talking.
Yeah, we're gonna
about.
be real on this show.
Right?
And it's let me know it's not just recapping the episodes and talking about how much I love being Ned.
Right. I think that's originally what they started off wanting to do, but
they're just reconnecting over all these years. And it's like,
right.
Let's share the dirt.
And they shared the dirt. They did.
And they got over that's every episode now.
I mean, the guy who played Cookie seemed like he's he got his head on straight, man. You know what I'm saying?
He's looking at those two like,
he's like, oh no, man. Like, I'm just,
man, I got my degree. What you want?
Yeah, man. He seemed like dude's doing good, man. For real. So I mean, not that the other two aren't, but
he don't have he's just like, I'm just here eating popcorn.
Exactly. Yeah, just like watch them go back and forth. Like, do you remember when we did this? Do you remember when we did that? And he's like, oh shit. No, for real. I do like shows like that. You know what I mean? Where they, Josh Peck has a show called The Good Guys with another guy, and they just had Drake Bell on there, and they were just
they was recapping. And of course, Drake Bell went through all that stuff here recently. The past couple of years.
Yeah. So. There's been they had some sort of dilemma, I guess, and they talked about that stuff, and just everything.
Open it up, being cool about it, just grown ups, and
it's just nice because we get a nice behind the. Oh, fucking! We had a nice behind the scenes, but I'm just thinking about another podcast like Boy Meets World, Boy Meets.
Oh,
Pod,
that's a good one. Yeah.
I
didn't realize. Yeah, through that podcast, I found out that Fred Savage just ghosted the whole crew.
Really?
Yeah, he don't. I guess it's Fred, right? Corey. Which one is it?
It's Ben Savage.
Ben, because Fred's the old one. Ben just ghosted the whole crew.
Damn.
He don't talk to any of them anymore. But apparently he's trying to get into politics or something, senator type stuff. So
it's not like Boy Meets World was a a wild out there show. You know what I mean?
But through that podcast, they were all talking about it, and they were like. Yeah, we ain't heard from him in 3 years. We used to all they're all in a group text, and one day it just said Corey has left the group or Ben has left the group, and it's like
I'm like, man, what? Fuck him. Fuck
you, right?
Corey.
That's what they were saying. But on camera, we're gonna be nice about it. But they get real on that too, but not horrible real, but they just stand on their values. Especially I can't remember. Somebody was on there bashing the time they had on the show, and. Topanga was like, no, you don't get to come on here and do this. It wasn't that.
Who was it?
I can't remember. It may have been the girl that turned into a porn star, Maitland Ward.
Yeah. That
not that I know the name.
That blew my.
Don't look up redheads.
Oh,
but yeah.
Oh shit. That
blew my mind. But I think it might have been somebody like her, and then talking about the whole Disney. Aura about talking about Josh Peck and and she said she had a horrible time on the show or whatever, and Topanga's like, no, that was not that. We weren't rude on, we weren't ever if we were, my bad, but you don't know what's going on in people's lives. You were part whatever it was, you had a bitch part of the show, and we were
they were all child
14
actors.
hours a day as a 15-year-old.
Yeah. Right. Which, I mean, Topanga was a lot of people's childhood crush.
Man.
Like, a lot of, even I think Lil Wayne, because he said, like, he had a line where he's just like, thicker than Topanga. And then, like, because it was a video of him, like, rapping along to this song playing in the background. And he's like, Topanga, Boy Meets World. So you got to, like, stop and
throw it in there.
Yeah.
And everybody knew. Everybody
Exactly,
agrees.
bro.
And, like, to know she wasn't even, like, from her, apparently she wasn't Topanga. Like, they didn't cast her until after the show came on.
She wasn't supposed to be, like...
Yeah, she was the second choice.
Well, I think, wasn't she supposed to be in, like, one episode or something like that?
And then she just, like, caught on. And
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
man.
That's crazy. And man, I love Will Friedle too because he's the voice of so many. Like, a lot of people don't know that he's probably the voice of one of their favorite characters that they didn't like.
Anything,
Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond. Like, he was the voice of Ron Stoppable. I mean, so many different characters.
Yeah, they just jump in. Like, that's the thing. Just because you don't see these people anymore, you don't realize a lot of them's gone into voice acting.
Yeah. Fucking Johnny Young Bosch, he played Adam from Power Rangers.
Yeah.
He does a lot of anime voiceovers, man. Like, a lot of, like, Ichigo from Bleach. He does some other popular characters from anime. Like, this dude's, like, really,
everywhere,
like, legit in the anime world, though, for real. Like, as far as, like, the dub goes. But, yeah.
Like, I'm sure it doesn't pay good as, like,
yeah, I think that's
acting,
right.
but, like,
I think that's what I heard. Like,
this
anime
is what
doesn't
you're
pay
doing.
well.
Like,
but...
I'm reading this, and you want me to emote this way? Okay. Like, whatever. Like, we'll just read it 5 different times, 5 different ways, move on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Got your script in front of you the whole time.
Which I would like to get into voice acting as well, man.
It would be like, I'm down for that. That's,
I think I would love to get into voice acting. I just, that's why I, like, know so much about, like, whenever like Will Friedle or all these different people, like, voice acting and stuff like that, because, like, I'm like, man, I see myself, like, in their shoes. You know what I mean? So that's just something that I one of the things that I've always wanted to do. Like, I want to stick with this podcast. And like I said, I was mentioning to you that I want to, study audio engineering and stuff like that. So, like, all the stuff that I, like, learned from there, I can, like, just put my teachings into this podcast,
Well, and then, like, I've heard through different podcasts and stuff I've been listening to recently that, like, even acting wise, this right here is what you need.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times they don't even quote unquote audition anymore. It's not like the room of, like, 8 people that look alike or whatever. Now it's I need you to send me your tape.
Right.
And they give you the script and you read the tape on camera and stuff like that.
Yeah, like,
so
you
it's
do
like,
it at your home, man.
Yeah, so, like, like, this is it now. Like, and then and then, of course, it all ties in together. Yeah,
exactly. Like, here lately, I've heard of so many people talking about, like, them having to do a tape at home. Like, I had to get my friend to hold the camera while, I read this, these lines or whatever,
COVID changed the world, man. COVID changed the world.
Did.
Like,
I
kids don't get snow days no more.
Right. I swear, bro.
Like, they don't know what it's like to just wake up and see that snow and just be happy that you didn't have nothing.
Right, man. And speaking of COVID, as well as, like, the shows that are podcasts that was like a spinoff of the show, essentially, if that's what you want to call it. The fucking, like, Scrubs. They have their own
Donald
podcast.
Faison and Zach Braff.
And I remember, like, back when, like, COVID hit, like, I was listening to their podcast on a regular basis, bro. And they would just talk about different episodes and, have different people from the show on there. And I was like, man, this is dope.
It made a lot of things. And I think it brought a lot of passion back to actors, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Going a couple years where you didn't really make nothing, and all of a sudden it's like, we're back at it. And it's like, all of a sudden, like, it seems like we rolled out a lot of good movies since COVID.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, it's kind of just started getting, like, same old. And then all of a sudden we rolled out, like, a whole bunch of good,
So I guess, like, going back to the whole Marvel thing real quick.
Yeah,
like, me and my buddy who was going to be on here, Che, we talked about kind of being done with the multiverse thing. Like, are you done with the multiverse too, or you still want a little bit more?
Tie it all into one and be done with it.
What's that?
Tie it all into one and be done. Don't give me a multiverse. Don't give me 8 different, Doctor Dooms.
Yeah,
just
it's a lot.
Tie it all together. It's cool. Don't get me wrong, it's cool, but I think multiverse is going to be a great way to bring the X-Men have always been around. This part, like, because we ain't ever met them.
Right.
So I think the multiverse is a great way to bring them all into the one world, Secret Wars, whatever. maybe it's the battle or whatever, and all the other worlds get destroyed, and all the heroes go to one world or whatever, like
And
something silly like that.
One world,
kind of like they did with the Flash and the DC universe with on TV.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they did the where
I want them to have their own podcast, man.
And that's what I'm waiting for. That's a whole series was good.
Because Grant Gunson's been on like how many podcasts now?
Yeah, and then man, just to hear all of them, even Stephen Amell, who was like done with it. Like, I'm done. I did Arrow. He still came back to do the Flash finale because like he realizes he was the creator of this universe, and they sent
That is because he somebody referred to him as the Iron Man of the Flash universe, and then, or this the CW universe.
And then speaking of COVID, so he had started making Heels. The first season of Heels. Well, it happened right as COVID was going on. And, well, as we was coming out of COVID, where you had to have a vaccine to go to the grocery store, Well, he lives in Canada. And I think he even lives in Vancouver. But regardless, he lives in Canada. He even spoke on the fact that, like, there was potential that he wouldn't be able to go to Georgia to shoot Hills, which is where it was filmed. He called Greg and was like, you want to do another season of Arrow? Like, we'll make it up on the go. I don't care if it's an 8-season, mid-season pickup, whatever. I will do another season of Arrow. If I'm not allowed to leave the country, we can just come up Vancouver. Just the crew's already here shooting other shows. Like, let's just roll out another season. Like, he had no problem going back to the role. He's even said now, he's like, bring it. Like, do a movie. You want to add me to the universe? I'm not against it.
Right. Okay, cool, man.
And then Suits LA got canceled, so he's free again.
Damn. Yeah. That would be a good movie, man.
NBC just, like, slaughtered their whole TV lineup this year. They canceled everything.
Damn.
They canceled 6 shows, something like that. And 6 that were like The Irrational and Found, which were both good shows. Suits LA, like George Lopez's show. They got a contract with NBA, so they kept like half their lineup so they could fit NBA games in. What? Which is kind of shitty, but
it is, man. Man, I don't even watch sports. Like I think I kind of like. Was it the show that he had with his daughter? Is that the show you're talking about, George Lopez?
Yeah, Lopez and Lopez. They canceled it.
They canceled that. Damn.
And The Irrational was good. It was led by
they fucking canceled Big Papa. Was it Big Papa's house?
Yeah.
With Damon Wayans and his son.
They canceled it too. They can't. The Irrational was ran by the leader of that show was Barry's dad, not his Iris's dad.
Yeah. Oh, damn, really?
He and then Fallon was the one was the dude that played Zach Morris and the girl that was on Shameless.
Okay.
Which that was a real good show, and they canceled it after 2 years.
Damn, bro.
So
I would say I will put Joe West from The Flash as one of the great dads too.
Oh, he's up there. We talk about James Avery earlier.
Yeah, he's up there, bro. Like, if you haven't watched The Flash, he's one of the best dads on TV that I've seen thus far, bro. Like, I'm like, damn, bro. I wish
Carl Winslow, Uncle Phil.
Yeah.
Somebody whose name will no longer be talked about from the Cosby Show. But yeah, some of the greatest dads ever.
Yeah. No, for real, man. That dude was and he can act, bro.
Dude, just a good actor. That they nailed that casting from top to bottom. That's
for sure,
hands down one of my favorite shows of all time because it was just every character was spot on what they needed to be.
Right. So, what were your favorite seasons from The Flash?
Honestly, I liked everything up until not saying I hated the older seasons, but basically up until they started messing around with the Mirror Master the second time after the COVID, basically.
Yeah.
Where Iris got trapped in the mirror. And, I love 1 through 4, 1 through 5. It's could not miss.
Yeah, I thought 1 and 2 was definitely.
I think Zoom season was probably my favorite.
Yeah.
Savitar wasn't bad. I think Savitar could have been better.
Yeah.
I think Savitar would have been better if it was Barry from the future and not a
Time
remnant.
Yeah.
If you give me Barry from the future that's just gone mad because he can't save everybody and wants to try to get faster, try to go back in time and just screw it, I'm going to take the time away from everybody. That way, I never have to go through this pain and reverse time. That would have worked. Would you get a timer and just pissed off because he's still alive? Like, what? Like, that really...
Yeah.
Like, you're a castaway. Dude, you weren't supposed to be alive.
Right.
So, yeah, it's just kind of... I mean, I liked it. Savitar was awesome. But I just think they could have... I think they could have done something different with, yeah.
I had a problem with Iris, man. I kind of felt like her taking over, like, Team Flash like she did. It was just like...
That's why, if you look where, like, her getting more into Team Flash, like I said, around the Mirror Master time, like, that's where it's just like, I don't need her in charge. She's not in charge.
Like, why are you in charge? Because you're sleeping with the Flash?
Right.
Like what the fuck is...
I liked earlier, like, through 2 seasons, she don't even know who he is. Yeah.
And, like, the way she be telling people what to do and kind of, like, I don't know, just the way she, I don't know, insinuates that she's better than him eventually, like, not eventually, but essentially it just rubbed me the wrong way. Just a lot of the times the way she would talk to people, I'm like, man,
yeah,
you can't even fucking do anything. Get the fuck up out of here.
Right. And she was just like, even Joe was a cop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he had a Baxter. She's a reporter.
Yeah, exactly.
No offense, but she's not Clark Kent.
Right. You weren't no scientist or a genius or anything.
I prefer, and which it would have got old too, but I'd prefer her to be the damsel in distress or the
I mean, she was,
or the moral like compass.
Yeah,
like he's starting to take, because let's be honest, which Greg Gustin's even said this too. Like, you had to take some artistic liberties, because if not, every episode would be over in 10 seconds.
Yeah,
but like, she's that rock that grounds him at the end of the episode and refocuses him into doing the right thing. Like, that's what I needed from her. I didn't need her to be like, Barry, you're fucking everything up. I'm in charge of this. Like,
like, nah, man. Let me go back in time to where you didn't know. How about that?
Right. Let's talk about going back. Let's rewind this.
Yeah, like, you write your reports and shit like that. How about that? Man, she got annoying, man. For real. But yeah, I want to go back and watch the first few seasons.
That actually does bring up a good question though with like Barry, because his powers throughout I guess it was 8 seasons?
I think 8, yeah.
7 or 8, yeah. So his powers grew exponentially over the years. By the end of 8 seasons, he could do so many things. Mm-hmm. And then we'll talk more about it Tuesday or whenever we do get around to it. But you got the introduction of Sentry, you got the introduction of Captain Marvel, you have Superman over in the DC universe. Like, where do you want your TV counterparts? Where do you want to draw the line on their power?
On their power?
Yeah. When do you start nerfing some of that power? Because we already seen what they did to ruin the Hulk.
Yeah, man.
So like, but what happens when you get too powerful on TV? Like, it's hard to. You could write something in a comic book that goes over 15 episodes that it can just like have a problem, but at the end of the day, if they can solve everything, where's the? I mean, Captain Marvel's kind of already there to me. Like,
yeah.
She came in and literally just blew through 6 ships on
Endgame.
Yeah, like, I like the character. Don't get me wrong. I'm not the big woman hater that she got hit with when they came out. Right, like, I like the movie for her, but her mixed with the rest of the universe to me just don't match.
Right. I mean, I think with the what's it, Superman and Lois show.
They were good with that. That was a good show, man.
They really gave him, like, he was vulnerable in quite a bit of the show.
I really liked that because he had mental vulnerability too. Mm-hmm. Like, showing how much he cared. Stuff, like, that's something that Superman doesn't get enough credit for, is the fact that literally he's here because of his compassion for all Americans. Like, he could have been Red Sun, the version that, turned to Krypton or turned to Russia.
Right. Kind of like Captain America's like a Captain Hydra, and essentially it was just kind of cool.
Yeah. Like, his compassion for humans. Like, he was sent here to destroy Earth. Like, that's technically what, versions of Superman is. Like, we're going to turn this into a new Krypton. That's what Zod wanted. And he cares so much about the people, but you don't get that enough in the newer movies. Right. Like, the older movies you did, because, like, that was the whole, except for, like, Superman 3.
Well, Zack Snyder was wanting to go there with Superman. Like, not like, he wanted to go the Injustice route with Superman,
that'd been so cool.
Yeah, because,
what would happen if he snaps?
Yeah, because even, like, him working with Joker and Deathstroke and that.
That
one scene, Like that was because Superman, went rogue.
And we wanted to lead up to that.
Yeah. So, but I think from what I heard, like Ben Affleck wanted to write his own Batman movie, and that it was going to be
that
a lot
snowballed
darker.
everything into
Like he was going to like potentially lose Alfred. They were going to say that, or they were going to like, because Deathstroke was going to lose a son due to like the whole events after Superman going rogue and stuff like that, and Batman started to kill and somehow ended up killing Deathstroke's son. And so like the Deathstroke in the CW universe, how he wanted to make Oliver feel the same pain that he felt for losing his son.
He was going to do the same kind of concept,
right.
And he was going to take Alfred from him.
Yeah. And so they were going to like make you think that it was going to be James Gordon, but it was going to actually be Alfred. He was going to like play psychological warfare on fucking Batman, like take everything from him, like his finances, like blow up his mansion, like everything. And then like it still wasn't going to be enough at that point. And then Alfred was going to be that straw.
Yeah.
You know
Which
what I mean?
now that you say it, man, it just reminds me of how good all those Arrowverse shows were. Because even Deathstroke on that was just like,
and
he nailed it. Slade. Yeah, all Prometheus was
like...
Yeah, that was... oh, man.
It was a good villain, bro.
And the way they tied everything back together on all the shows. Even with, Arrow, and then Flash did it too. Like season 8 ties right back to season 1.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the Spider-Man, like the end of the season 1, how it ties back to the first episode.
Man, that's a great ending. I love it.
It still is, man. It still is.
Because it makes the first episode make sense. Because you thought it was coming from a different universe.
Right. I thought it was, I mean, I guess it did come from a lab essentially, but like I thought it was just, they just made it from a lab, and
I honestly felt like it came from the way the first episode played. It came from the universe we know and love, the Doctor Strange we know and love is in the Marvel universe. That it came from that universe, but no, it came full circle from his own universe.
Which is it's just crazy because it's a paradox. Like it's in a constant loop.
Because he created this, his body created the spider that created his body.
Right. Which is like, huh? Like what came first at that point? You know what I mean?
Which goes to the Flash comics, that he ends up being the person that created the Flash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With the Speed Force and the lightning, he was the person who started himself.
Yeah, because he pretty much he inspired Eobard Thawne in a future, but then I guess he Reverse Flash became jealous of him, and so he wanted to basically kill Barry, so he went back in time. And so, I guess he recreated the whole events for Flash to be
make sure Flash becomes Flash.
Yeah, and then it just started all over again. And it's just and then even in the show, where he goes back and saves his mom, and it creates Flashpoint and all this other stuff. But then he realized certain events have to happen.
That was a good original movie.
Yeah,
you ever seen Butterfly Effect?
Yeah,
Man, that's Let's think about that's what it is, the butterfly effect. You make one little ripple and it changes the whole flashpoint.
Yeah. Which is, man, it's so crazy, man. Which them getting upset about what once was,
right.
Though they didn't know that's what it was, kind of didn't make sense to me. You know what I mean?
No,
if you told me I had a brother in another timeline who died, but you wanted to go back and save your mom, and
so now my brother was alive.
I'm like, I don't know, I don't know any different,
I've always known my brother to be dead.
Yeah. So I mean, it just didn't make sense that John Diggle was upset that he has went
from a daughter to a son or vice versa, something like that. Yeah.
So
angry over things that didn't matter, but they tried to do it to further the story. But
to make it a little bit more of an impact whenever he told them.
You're mad that you got a kid that you didn't know about. What?
Yeah, exactly. They wanted to make it more of an impact whenever he told him he didn't know how he was going to tell him that this was the case and all this stuff, Cisco and everybody being mad at him. I'm like, man, y'all being upset over something you didn't even know you had.
Right.
It was
very small changes to their reality. But
right. And to be honest, if you really think about it, those people weren't you. Those are a different set of people. You know what I mean? Just, I just changed things a little bit. Can you blame me? Like
you never knew,
right? Yeah, like would you go back and change time if you could to get your daughter back that you're upset about not having, or
it goes full circle.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It keeps going. Like, do you want to change time now? Because I'm telling you, it's gonna work out what you think it is.
Yeah, like I'm telling you, if this power was in your hands, you will probably do the same thing too, if not fuck it up even worse.
Yeah, and there's not nobody like outside of like maybe Neil deGrasse Tyson or whatever that I know was like
I think
everything about it. Even he would probably go and be like,
he would like,
nah, let me try this. Like
he probably understand like, okay, if I travel fast enough, I can probably go back. I can probably go back to the beginning of the universe and see how it started, or to the end of the universe and see what happens. And I know if I go too far into the future, then I'm probably going to have to stay there, because when I come back, everybody's going to be dead, because, at the faster you go, time slows down and shit like that.
Right. Like there's other paradoxes to it, and aging and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I'm interested in all that crap.
Oh, yeah.
Time travel,
I
space.
am too, yeah. Which it does blow my mind.
Yeah.
The faster you go, the more time, slow down? So, so if I went into, if I was able to travel at the speed of light, even if I went in time, maybe an hour into the future, and then I came back, people will be much older when I got back.
Right.
So, in a sense, it's do you stay in the future? You know what I mean?
Right, because, it's just a whole paradox.
Right. I guess depending on how far you've traveled and have to come back.
What damage is caused by changing back. And
yeah, because, shit, what's that movie? Interstellar, when he comes back and the guy's aged, significantly, as well as his daughter, once he gets back to Earth.
Well, they even played with it a little bit in Infinity War with Ant-Man when they sent him back to. Yeah. He came back as 8 different ages, it goes along with that. Time ages you different ways, and if you don't get it just right.
Oh yeah, because I think it's I'm not sure if it's gravity or something like that has anything to do with it, but that just, I don't know, it's just so much the laws and everything that it just. You have to follow, I guess.
Yeah, no. Well, I know gravity works a lot with Saiyans when they're training. But
yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Which I want to watch that Daima Dragon Ball show because they introduced Super Saiyan 4 in that show. Oh, and they said he's more primal in a Super
new version
Saiyan 4.
Of it. Yeah. Instead of the kid version.
Yeah. Which, I thought Super Saiyan 4 was pretty dope.
Oh no, it was. Yeah, it just
I know a lot of people have their issues with GT, which
the storyline threw me. That's all. Just I
think looking back for me, I just didn't. I don't know. I guess I was watching it. I just didn't really see what people were talking about.
Right. It's just another It's one of those hindsight makes it different compared to when you were in the moment.
Right. It's kind of like when I was watching the Batman movies, as a kid, the Batman and Robin, how people were joking about the bat nipples and all that shit.
It didn't affect me when I watched it. I liked Val Kilmer when he was. I liked George Clooney in the moment.
At the kid,
looking back, I can do a lot.
It was a Batman movie, so it was big, in my mind when I'm watching it. But then you get older, and I haven't seen it since then, and everybody's talking about what a shitty movie it was, and I'm just I don't.
Well, see. Even to me, before I fell into the Dark Knight series and saw the darker version of Batman, that was my Batman. The campy,
right.
Adam West and Burt Ward from the so that was no problem for me when they hit the campy versions. When Michael Keaton left, you had Val Kilmer. Then George Clooney. It was campy. It was over the top. It was Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze.
Right,
it was dude, I loved it.
Yeah, I did too. I like.
But looking back, I understand what people's talking about now. But
honestly, I kind of feel that way about Mortal Kombat when people's the first original Mortal Kombat movie.
I was there, dude.
When people say it's cheesy, I'm what? And I still scratch my brain. I'm or my head. I'm what are you talking about? Cheesy? What dude, part was
it? It matched. It actually felt like it was pretty organic into the universe of how you spin it.
You Scorpion this, Scorpion shit, Sub-Zero this, Sub-Zero shit.
Yeah, what? Reptile looked like a fucking reptile.
Yeah, I don't understand. What was? I mean, the CGI was probably dated. It's probably dated now, but that's what the best they had to work with at the time. So it still hits for me.
Yeah, that's a lot of things. People go, oh, well, look at the CGI. Yeah, when it was out, dude, trust me, it was top notch.
Oh, yeah.
Like I can watch different movies now and nitpick it if I want to, but I was in the moment. Like,
who's to say? I mean, you know, say 20 years from now, you know, we're gonna be saying the same shit about the CGI from today. You know what I mean?
Oh, then they're already starting to knock it because like they're realizing that hey, we're shortchanging people, so it's like we could have 100 guys on here that don't get paid enough, or we can put 50 guys. Maybe it won't be as nice, but at least everybody's making the right wage or whatever. Right. So CGI is not top notch anymore, but like, you're picturing a Red Hawk flight, which by the way, they did great.
Right. I
but
thought
like,
so too.
Guess what? Harrison Ford's not big and red and muscular and 9 foot tall. Pretty sure.
Right. How tall was the Hulk in what's the first one? Because it wasn't.
I've seen like size comparisons, where he's like shrunk over the years. Where like he started off as almost like 10 foot tall, and then now he's down to like an 8 foot tall or 7. And
I thought he was like probably like 12 feet taller. Or something
it's something like that. But I've seen the top. Like it's just.
But people say that's like the most comic book accurate movie.
The first one.
Yeah, how he like when he gets the madder he gets, the bigger he gets and shit like that. But apparently that movie's about trauma as well. You know, with him like dealing with his dad killing his mom and then blaming it on him, saying that he was the reason why his mom was killed. But then, like, you know, it's just pretty much that's what created the Hulk, essentially. Was
his like trauma and the gamma combined,
Yeah. So it's just, it's kind of like I refer to it as like Dr. Frankenstein, like, had, like, his monster all put together, but, like, the gamma bomb that went off was kind of like the lightning bolt that brought
it to life.
It's a
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah. Was it the monster? Is that what they called the
Frankenstein? And it was the monster. Frankenstein's monster. Dr. Frankenstein. Yeah, they always call the monster Frankenstein now, but technically it's not.
Right. Yeah. So I feel like the gamma is kind of like the lightning bolt that brought the monster to life, basically. So, but I mean, I got to go back and watch that movie, but I did watch the Edward Norton, his Hulk recently, and I still think that holds up well. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Most of them do, man. I could throw any of them in. Like, of course, I say that about all the movies that I really enjoy. Like, I could throw Monster Squad in right now and it just Goonies, Monster Squad, like all these movies that I loved as a kid, and just watch them over again. But I do feel most of them hold up, and even CGI wise, they're not horrible by any means.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all, to be honest. Like, I mean, and I feel like that's part of the appeal too. You know, like that's what makes those movies those movies. To be honest,
right.
Like I know, like even it doesn't take me out of it whenever I watch it, you know? Like, I was like, oh, man, the CGI, goddamn.
Oh, I could tell that was fake. The whole movie's fake.
Like, no shit. Like, when you, like, get
I saw him die here and
world,
he's in the next movie? How's that happen?
Like, like, I know Sub-Zero can freeze shit, but, you know, I know nobody can do that in real life, but, I mean, still, I'm invested in this movie. I'm, like, in this movie to where, you know, I believe it all. Like, even like with CGI or whatever, like I believe it all. Like I'm going along with the story. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm there to enjoy myself. I'm not there to like. I'm not a movie producer. I'm not a filmmaker. Like,
right.
I'm there to enjoy it. Like, I'm sure if like, you know, if you're a truck driver watching somebody else drive a truck, you might want to critique it or, you know, like.
Which is crazy, you know.
Yeah, but it's like just enjoy it.
Yeah,
like everybody's gonna do their own thing, and just the movie's made for your enjoyment.
Yeah. I want to go back and watch the first Blade. I want to watch Blade 2 as well, but you know, I feel like there's something, you know, something that nobody can top when it comes to the first
one.
Blade.
Is a perfect Blade movie. The second one's not bad. The third one, I feel, was made to be a launching pad for Ryan Reynolds and
you said Jessica Biel. Jessica Biel. Yeah,
I was gonna say Timberlake's wife because I couldn't remember his name, but like it was made for a spinoff for them. I really feel it was because they were almost bigger stars than Blade was. Even though he literally fought Dracula in the movie.
Yeah, but I haven't seen that one, so.
But the first one is literally a perfect movie. Like,
are those on Disney? Are they? I guess they're Marvel.
I don't know. I actually haven't looked, but speaking of Triple H earlier, he's in the third one.
Right. Where did my phone go?
By the computer.
Oh shit! If I'm a remote.
Well, hey.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if those are on Disney, man. Because I want to watch those.
Man, they're a good watch. Just, I mean, I could throw the first Transformers on right now. And it's just
man.
like, you know, we got the new one coming out with both Mark Wahlberg and LaBeouf. They're in the next one. Yeah, the next one's coming out. It's back to
Michael Bay.
Yeah, Bay's back. I mean, it's just everything. Everything about it's back, and I can't wait. Just because I'm a sucker for him. I can't.
Yeah, same, man. Like, 'cause, I mean, that's what started it all, and that's what like I appreciate, honestly. Like, I really do like the first one. I love the first one, actually. I really like the third one. The second one, I got to go back and watch to see how I feel about that. But I haven't really watched the Age of Extinction and The Last Night like that either. Like, I might have seen them
I've seen them once.
Yeah,
That's
just
it.
once. But I really did like Bumblebee as well, but didn't really care for what was that? The Rise of the Beast.
Yeah, it's like Beast Wars or whatever.
Yeah. I didn't really care for that, and I'm a Beast Wars fan, man. That's really honestly that was my intro to Transformers was the Beast Wars.
And I was just say for me, I'm a little older, but like I was just thinking about that. You was talking like the hits for me as a kid were Transformers. I still remember seeing the first Transformers movie.
Damn.
And Optimus dying and Hot Rod taking over. It's just
he was supposed to actually be, you know, like
the new Optimus Prime.
Yeah, Optimus was supposed to stay dead. You know, like there weren't supposed to be any more, you know, Optimus anything. You know, like, but I guess people were too upset about him dying and Rodimus Prime being the new Prime essentially, and so they ended up, you know, bringing him back just to, you know, for, you know, fan's sake essentially.
But yeah, I grew up with that, G.I. Joe, Ninja Turtles. That was it. You know, everything else was just like whatever was on. But like those were the three that I could not get enough of.
How did you feel about the G.I. Joe movies?
I think they could have done better with it. I think they didn't. My daughter's weird. I don't think they kept enough with the source material. I think they wanted to kind of do their own thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, I like the concept of different things that threw in there. Like, I like Bruce Willis's character in the second one being the original G.I. Joe. Because there was original G.I. Joe characters from way back.
Right.
But I just think they should have just kept with the source material. It's on paper, and it's so easy to like. You can't mess it up,
right.
And then you do a Snake Eyes spinoff movie, and it's great.
Yeah,
like,
it was
you know,
good.
him and Storm Shadow alone is just a movie in its own.
Yeah, that was good, man.
And so it wasn't hard to mess up. They're all bigger than life characters. Like they're all drawn out. You have their backstory. You have everything literally on a card on the back of the character pack. So it's like, just leave it alone. Just make a movie. Your heroes are your hit. Like that's what every kid and every person that knew what G.I. Joe was, they already knew. Yeah. Cobra Commander versus, you know, you had it all built, and you don't.
Right.
I don't need a Cobra Commander backstory. Like you don't need to tell me how he became Cobra Commander.
Right. Yeah. Well, who was it? Joseph
Gordon-Levitt. Yeah. And he's never truly the Cobra Commander until the very end.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Come on, dude.
Oh, man.
Just like, I mean, He-Man, that was another one back in the day, and it's like I've heard they're making a new live action, but and I'll see what it goes. But like it was bad. Like I was a fan of it. Dolph Lundgren as He-Man. Like give it to me. I was down for that.
Okay,
it was campy.
Cool.
It was I don't need perfect. Like I'm a Short Circuit fan. Like I like
Short Circuit, man. Hell yeah.
I got Spencer into it the other day. Like I called him said, "Hey, snowblower," or "Hey, laser lips, your mama was a snowblower." He looked at me and goes, "What's that from?" And so I had to show him just
right. Shit, fucking, I feel like Wally was kind of like inspired by.
Yes, Wally was definitely a Johnny Five.
Yeah. Damn, bro, Short Circuit, dude. Oh my god, that took me back.
Yeah, that's what's I grew up on all that. Like,
yeah, that's what's up.
Watch the same things over and over again. But like Monster Squad, I've seen like 100 times, and Goonies, I don't know how many times, and.
Damn, I've honestly, like, admittedly, I've only seen like Goonie a couple times. You know what I mean?
But it was in my wheelhouse though. Like
right. Yeah, it was like the generation before me, I think.
Yeah.
You know, but man, I'm still kind of stuck on the Michael Bay and his Transformers coming back. You know what I mean?
I'm hyped. I'm ready.
I'm wondering what they're gonna do. You know what I mean?
There's something like I feel he hasn't missed. Like all the stories I felt have been like they keep bringing Megatron back, and I'm cool with it because Megatron is always there to fight Optimus Prime. I don't need a new supervillain and Megatron. No, bring me the new supervillain. Megatron's still gonna be there, wanting to be the supervillain.
Right.
I need that. That's something I kind of wish Marvel films would like adapt. You don't always have to beat the bad guy. Like
right.
You don't always have to destroy the evil.
Right. I mean, I think one of the things they haven't really done was, have Megatron really work with Optimus, for like a bigger threat type shit, Right.
I mean? The only thing they've really kind of done is like him not, like I think they did with, in the end of the battle with the, which one was it? 3 or whatever, where you had Leonard Nimoy as one of the original.
Dark of the Moon.
Dark of the Moon. I think he did kind of at one point turn on them because he's
right.
I can seize the power now because they're weak and I can take it over. And so
yeah.
But other than that, they've never really teamed up.
Right. I mean, they can bring in Unicron, man. Like Unicron,
I feel that's the next step.
Will be like he's like one of the biggest threats that
it's the next big bad that they haven't hit yet.
So many people. I mean, they've tried to do Unicron, and they tried to do Unicron in the Rise of the Beast. But I mean, I don't know if that's going to be like overkill. But we've never gotten like Unicron,
full-fledged,
like he's never transformed. Because I mean, I feel like once we see him transform a planet-sized transformer. Like, as, their alt mode.
Battle him in, yes.
God damn. But you'd have to bring in, like, Primus probably, too, because he's, like, the Unicron's twin, essentially.
Right. You could pull it off. Maybe even just, like, set it up as another trilogy. Like,
right, yeah.
Bale wrote out 500 movies. He don't care.
Oh, yeah.
But, I want a big over-the-top.
Oh, man. Oh, dude. Damn. But what I'm wondering is, I thought what was it which one was what's his name? The dude who played Hannibal Lecter in.
That was a Mark Wahlberg one. That was Last Night, maybe?
Because I could have sworn like people have been saying that like they didn't directly say it, but Shia LaBeouf's character Sam was killed or something like that.
Indirectly said like the Witwicky line is ended or something like that. Something off-putting, but they didn't say he was like, or he's indisposed or something. They did say something where he's out of the way or something.
They might be able to say that they had to make him seem dead in order to not bring any attention to him and stuff like that.
I mean everything you do with John Turturro's character and the CIA and the FBI and all that, it's easier just to how easy would it be just to wit-sec him?
Right. Apparently,
he was going crazy, so it's also easily to just he went nuts because all the stuff that's inside of his head. So.
Right, that makes sense. I'm hearing people say that apparently Megan Fox was like a psyop. Basically, they pretty much put them together, through a series of different generations and all that stuff. They made sure that the both of them would come together for, I can't remember what the reasoning was.
Because they're mad to see Shia LaBeouf with Megan Fox, which I am too. Just but that's another story.
But they said that she wasn't aware of it, but with them being all throughout history and shit that, even back in the
always finding ways to come together.
Right. Yeah. So they made sure to each of their bloodlines from their ancestors or whatever survived essentially, so that eventually them two would meet and be the team that they needed them to be and stuff like that essentially. So I got to go back and read what they were talking about it, but yeah. So
I wish, which I don't know the whole story, and I'm definitely making light of the situation, and then the whole Me Too stuff just isn't something to joke about. But I really wish she would have just got over her issues with Michael Bay and stayed on for the third one.
Yeah.
Because, all the problems she said she had with him obviously went away because she did the Turtles movie with him.
Right. Yeah.
So whatever issue it wasn't Michael Bay, like she said, because she made up just fine for But like, I would have loved to seen the story with her in it in 3 to keep the storyline going instead of just filling in with new hot model. Because at least she's an actress for what it's worth.
Yeah. I thought the chick in the third movie was actually
it wasn't bad. She wasn't bad. Well, yeah, but it's not that it was a bad story by any means, but just to pull her out of nowhere, and then now you're gonna potentially thrust her back in. I would put her back in if I.
So, do you know what her issue was with Michael?
I heard it was something like sexual harassment or something like that, or like she was objectified. But it's like, you did Jennifer's body. Like, you know your object. Right. You know that's the whole concept of why you're famous. Like, I'm not trying to be that guy, but like, even to this day, she knows what she is.
Right.
Like, so.
Even that movie she did that when she was like an android or something like that, or AI.
Yeah, that was just not even too long ago. Yeah, she knows exactly what her
role is.
Yeah, so
some people played a part.
It probably boiled down to like management saying, "Hey, they're objectifying you," and so she took a stand, and then. Which I mean, but they pay me. Like
I get that to a degree. Like I guess maybe she wanted to. Let her acting skills speak for itself.
Right. No,
but, not like her body really, be what she's there for. But,
At the end of the day, like, unfortunately, she probably wasn't hired for her acting. I'm not trying to be, like, negative by any ways, but sometimes that's the way life is. Like,
right.
You can grow into a better actress, but, I'm sure, and I'm not... Once again, not making light, but there's a reason Julia Roberts was cast in Pretty Woman. Like, she was a pretty woman. She fit the bill of exactly what they were looking for. You're not going to cast, someone else in the role. I'm not going to degrade anyone else, but like,
right. I've never seen that movie.
It's all right. I mean, it's for the day, for the time, it was cool. Which that's something, man. Talk about comedians and stuff, which we don't talk a lot about, but I see so much now, especially with the woke community, whatever the hell that even means. But everybody wanting to cancel everybody, and the way times have been different over my 80s, and you're obviously younger, but like I grew up in the 80s. I went, I had Eddie Murphy Raw, I had Richard Pryor. Like, there is nothing in this world I haven't heard that's gonna ever offend me.
I do feel like I was thinking about this the other day, because I can't remember who was talking, but they were saying that like, oh, this wouldn't have gone over in today's time. I'm like, man, how neutered are we to where, like, we can acknowledge that, something that we watched, like Tropic Thunder.
I was going to say, I'm not, saying blackface is right, but tell me that ain't funny.
It's like fucking funny, bro. And like, people saying that you can't make that in today's world. Because people are too overly sensitive.
They're going to have a problem with and the character makes fun of himself in the movie. You don't even give a chance for the character to play out.
Right.
You see and automatically judge. It's people that probably ain't even seen it that judge it too.
Those are the people who are trying to cancel, man. And it's just like, why? But bro? It has nothing to even do with you.
Exactly.
That's what's the crazy part, man. Like, people are trying to cancel.
Creative freedom has gone to the wayside. You have to make sure it's okay with everybody first.
And that's probably why a lot of fucking shit is flopping, because like you can't say or do or anything anymore.
Well, and politics aside, because that's an arguing topic for a lot of people, but you can't even support somebody now without somebody wanting to cancel you. Like,
right, man.
I'm not saying Kill Tony's funny. I'm not saying Tony Hinchcliffe is hilarious, but I have seen funny bits on his show. Right. I have seen clips that make me laugh.
Right.
But because he did Trump's thing, everybody's saying cancel, cancel, cancel. Dude, come on. Just like with rappers, like, Beyonce canceled because she was at Kamala Harris, or canceled because they were doing this. It's like, dude, you can support whoever the hell you want to. Guess what? It don't bother me.
Right. I think there needs to be like a cancel culture to cancel culture. You know what I mean?
I do. I want to go back to being like, there's a few comedians that still like have a backbone. Dave Chappelle. There's a few that just like, nah, I'm going to be me. Eddie Murphy is still, I'm going to be me.
Right.
When he rehosted Saturday Night Live and even on the specials, like, I'm going to be me. Like, you don't like it, you know who I am.
Yeah, and then, you got other people who are going to have to fucking make a public apology, who you probably really don't feel that type of way, but they're just like, help me, please. I don't want them to take my fame and my money,
Right.
Like,
well, and then you can't do anything anymore. Like this whole thing, Shannon Sharp's being canceled because, and I'm not saying
what he did was wrong.
Right. I'm not getting into that. Like that, if the things he did, okay. Right. But there's context to a lot of stuff too. Just because I posted out there, you know how many people don't want you to go through their phone for some of the things they've said to the old ladies?
Oh, man. Shit.
Like, you're going to say some nasty stuff to some people sometimes because you ain't planning on it getting out.
Right.
Like, a lot of the dirt she's throwing is stuff that a lot of people have said at a lot of girls, or even worse. But she throws it out there in a lawsuit, and all of a sudden it's, oh, man. Shay Shay's done. It's like,
and then that's the thing. Like,
dude accidentally live streamed banging a chick on his bed. You think he knows what he's doing?
I didn't even know exactly what all he did, but, you know.
that was recently, dude. I think it was... might have been Instagram or something, but he went live at like 10 a.m. one morning, and all you hear is cheeks clapping.
Damn.
And hear him grunting. All of a sudden, you hear shit because he realized the phone was live streaming the whole time.
Oh shit!
He said something like he issued an apology. He said like his producer was like finally came to the house, started banging on the door, like, bro, you are live. Like,
damn.
Because he called it and it's not going through because he's live. And
damn.
But then this whole other thing is just. Former people are saying he harassed him and he this and he and that. And like, I'm not saying he did or didn't, but when we go back in time, like, I'll say late 90s, early 2000s, I did a lot of things in my life that today would get me canceled.
Oh, shit.
just with females. Because back in the day, like, you shoot your shot. Nowadays, you shoot your shot and you sexually harass somebody. Like, you get drunk at a party and kiss a chick, that's sexual harassment that somebody's going to file somewhere now. And I'm not saying forcing yourself on somebody is right. Dude, it's not. But has there been moments in the past where stuff like that happened? Yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
I get that.
Yeah, and it's not like, holding them down and ripping their clothes off by any means. That's just wrong.
Right.
But the small things, a lot of times what makes it news now because they just label it something and you find out what it really was. And it's like, unwanted sexual advances. He asked you out. That's called like you shoot, you shot.
I mean, honestly, a lot of that stuff. The problem is stuff like that sells. You know what I mean? That's what get a lot of people like talking and engaged or whatever.
And it's that cancel culture too. Like she throws that out there. Shannon Sharp's terrified of getting canceled. He pays out even though it ain't even. I'm not in that court case. I haven't went into the deep dive.
But that's probably what's happening.
She throws it out there. Well, he'll drop. I'm suing for 25. He'll drop one just to get it to go away. Something.
Yeah, that's what's crazy, man. That shit's a payday, man, and these people aren't seeing that. Like, there's certain people like Keanu Reeves, and I just recently saw this of Michael B. Jordan, who whenever they are hugging a girl, they don't touch them.
Scandal free for certain. Like, you see him shadowing them. It's
like if they're taking a picture with a girl,
never put their hands on anybody. Like,
you might as well be like,
and that's great. I mean, like, I'm glad to see that. It is respectful.
Crazy. That's what they got to do.
But they have to. They know. They know. They see like Jonathan Majors was canceled. Kang. We're talking about the Marvel universe.
Hence, Doomsday.
Literally stripped his whole saga away from him.
Yeah.
Because of something that I don't know the full story, so I don't want to get out there and, word for word, but I'm pretty sure it was dismissed because it was like not completely the story. And
people still don't want, that attached to anything that they, are trying to do. Any projects.
Kang comes up in the Secret Wars, and I would love for him just to come back full circle.
That would be crazy.
Just don't even tell nobody you're going to put him in it. Just do it.
No, I think he was supposed to be in Sinners as well. I don't know if Michael B. Jordan's
was
character
originally supposed to be a twin.
Yeah, I don't know if he was just supposed to be a brother or the brother. Spoke his stack.
Speaking of like digital twins, man, he did a great job of making a movie where both of them's on the screen and you don't if you didn't know, you wouldn't know.
Right.
Like it is clean CGI wise, split screen, whatever they do, it's like
say if you didn't know Michael B. Jordan, like if
Smoke
you didn't know
and Stack are two different people.
Yeah, if you didn't know Michael B. Jordan at all and you sat down and watched that movie, you will believe that they're actually two identical twins.
Yeah, that's really crazy. Good job recently. Because usually you can usually there's some spots where you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But for them, it was like, it was good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they did a pretty good. I mean, apparently they were using like so many different like cameras and shit like that. they had like this Halo camera that he had to use.
Yeah, I've seen some other things where they talk, not with this, but with other things where they talk, where you think it's like, oh, well, they see his nods, really not even that fancy.
Yeah,
like it's lower tech things, but that's why it comes off so clean.
Yeah. So I mean, he explains it like in several different interviews, man. But still, put that much effort into it to make it work, man. It's just
where it could have just been as simple as casting another actor,
right?
Like,
yeah, it just shows both Michael B. Jordan's and Ryan Coogler's dedication. What I shot you.
Like, I would not be surprised, especially with the new rules coming up for Oscars, that it doesn't smell something. Like Haley Steinfeld for one, just because. Talk about coming out of left field from a character perspective. Like
that's what I was telling.
She was somebody. Who is this? Like,
right? Yeah, no, that's what I was talking on my last podcast. I kind of feel like she shed that, young actress skin and kind of like stepped into something to where she could start playing more mature actresses.
Right.
Not that like some of her wasn't,
but see, back in the day, like it was always the running joke, like you had to take your top off to become considered an adult. You had the chick from Saved by the Bell do the stripper movie, whatever it wasn't worth watching, well, except for but that was the thing. Like that's how you're a grown up. Lindsay Lohan and Playboy. Now you're a grown up.
Right.
But like, dude, she shed that image instantly. The Nickelodeon image is gone. The Disney image is gone. And now she can be in whatever.
Oh yeah, because I was saying, my last podcast, it really took me by surprise whenever she was trying to get to Stack, and Sammy, was trying to like stop her from doing so, and she was like, "Boy, if you don't get the fuck out of my face," I'm like, "Whoa, who is this?"
Well, I mean, even the great line of like, "You can rob a bank, but you can't steal this pussy for one night."
Right. Like, what the fuck?
What? Not what I was expecting.
I swear, bro. Like, yeah. So she, she shedded that skin, bro, and that was dope, man. That was dope because, like I said, like seeing her in like Bumblebee and seeing her like even as like Kate Bishop, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like. I don't know. It's just like a younger roles.
But and that is something that I do actually want to see with these changes. Is some of these Marvel movies and even DC. I'm not knocking DC. I would love to see them turn it around.
Mm-hmm.
Is them getting the nod for what they are. Like Endgame. Robert Downey Jr. could have easily got an Oscar nod for that. Like,
yeah, man.
The death scene, all of it, like, he played it up. Like, they've been some really good acting in these movies, but they don't get the nod because they're just blockbuster superhero movies. Yeah. And they're changing the rules to say you can't vote on Best Picture, you can't vote on any of the categories unless you've seen the movie.
That's crazy.
Which I think should have already been a rule, but now I'm hoping they open it up. And I know they're adding stunts in 2 years, I think. They're adding stunt coordinator and stunt stuff because they were talking about it with Thunderbolts. The opening scene where Yelena jumps off the tallest building. She really did that.
Right, yeah.
Like she jumped off the second tallest building in the world with no net. She's like, I ththought there was going to be a net. And they were like, where the fuck are we going to put a net? And she's like, oh, I really don't know what I signed up for then, do I?
Yeah, because she wanted to do that. And
they asked her, they were like, do you like heights? She's like, I love heights.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I wouldn't have done that.
And then, because they were just talking about her standing on top. Yeah. And then she was like, I'll do the jump.
Damn.
And they were like, okay. And then she's like, I got up there and there was no nets and there was no nothing else. And she's like, fuck.
Damn.
Maybe I shouldn't. She's like, the jump wasn't bad. It was the winching her back up where you're hanging.
Oh, okay.
All the, because I guess they did it with cables. And so like she does the jump and then the slow pull back up where she's just like staring at.
Yeah. God damn.
And then I didn't even realize it was second tallest building in the world.
Damn. Yeah. I saw that, but because I think what the first is like in Dubai or something like that. Yeah. Damn.
That's the one you keep getting pictures like Will Smith and Tom Cruise chilling on the top of it.
I wouldn't be able to do that shit, bro. Like,
dude, I can't get on top of the chair to change a light bulb without getting a little uneasy.
What's that one movie where those two girls are on that tower?
Yeah, it could be called Tower. I don't know, but I'm like,
I can't even watch it. I don't even know if
I get dizzy looking at those towers when we go by.
Yeah, I do too, man. God damn, like those one videos or those dudes that are working on those like those towers, but like you can see like how high they're up. and they're just working like just wiring those towers up like it's nothing. I mean, I guess it isn't to
the
them.
guys that go up to change the light bulb on the top.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, dude, yeah.
Somebody's got to do it, I guess. But
the wind's blowing so hard because you're in a different layer of the atmosphere.
yeah,
like,
shit, bro. But I'm sure they make like stupid money, man. Stupid fucking.
That's one of
money
those where you
shit.
make like $500,000 and you work like 4 days a year.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
250,000 a light bulb.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like,
man. I mean, I wish I had that courage, man. I wish I actually liked heights like that. Shit, I fucking like said, fuck it, let's do it.
I don't like, and just like I love swimming, and like I'm actually planning on this year getting certified scuba diver and stuff because I just love it. But then there's that unknown part. Like I don't want to go real high in the air because I'm scared of heights, and I don't want to go down in the ocean and lakes because like Loch Ness Monster might give me or something, dude. Like I told you, I believe in the unknown because like there's so much that like we discover on a daily basis. You can't tell me there's stuff we ain't discovered yet.
Yeah, I mean it would make sense. I mean with the Earth being so like vast and big and shit.
And we're
like
too
that.
short-sighted.
Yeah,
like we see a monkey, we're like, oh, it's a monkey. We don't dive into the like. If we all evolved from things, what do you think is out there?
Right.
Like dinosaurs. If it was all evolution, you think it don't exist somewhere? Like deepest parts of the ocean, maybe they stayed there for a reason. Like the Megalodon movies, Meg. Like to me, that shit could be possibly believable. Like pockets of
with like alligators. Practically, and chickens really being descendants of fucking dinosaurs.
Yeah,
really, you know? So I mean that shit's like, I mean it's a lot of shit that's really possible, man. That we just like we don't want to believe it because it disrupts our reality of what we perceive as normal.
It's that pocket of comfort. It's just,
exactly. So it's
you
just
don't want to be in believe in the metaphysical because you don't want to believe that some of these people might be right.
Yeah.
People don't believe in mediums because they don't want to believe it's right. It's not because they don't believe. They don't want to believe that somebody can literally talk to the dead or whatever whatever the thing may be.
It's people that probably don't want to believe that like the universe is as big as it is. You know what I mean? Because it's just, I mean, it is kind of incomprehensible to try to like figure out exactly how big, but it's just
So I was big in astrology and. Yeah, it's mind-blowing to realize that when you look up in the sky, a lot of the stars you see aren't even there.
Yeah, exactly.
Light,
that far
the way
away.
light travels, and it's like, there's stars that are no longer there that have already burnt out, but you see them because the light is still traveling here.
Oh, yeah. Like, apparently, like, at some point in the future, like, everything is moving away so fast and rapidly that, like, you're not going to be able to see any stars in the sky. And there's not really going to be any trace to say that there were any like neighbor galaxies or any stars or whatever because there's all moving away. So
to go with the Big Bang, it's all going away from the center point. Yeah,
I guess it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like kind of like a bomb. Whenever it explodes out. You know what I mean? Like
and then technically. Space has no gravity, so it's like
it's still expanding because of that. I guess that explosion was so crazy,
whatever it was,
that it's still like expanding, which is crazy to think about, man. That is mind blowing, but it kind of makes you wonder, like, is that like, what if that's like how big of a nuke is? Which I mean, nukes aren't big or aren't small, but like, what if like it's the Big Bang is kind of like small to something else? You know what I mean?
What if the Big Bang was because of the Big Bang? What if we were a piece of that bang that big, like even bigger?
Yeah, exactly. So that I mean that's just crazy to think about. We don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, like I mean that just goes along with like the whole, giants and all these different like mythological things. That's something I'm huge into is mythology.
Oh yeah.
But, they talked about, possibly giants helped build the pyramids because that would make sense of how they could move the stones up to the top or and that's where the aliens come from, which is the whole Kang concept in the
right.
In actual comic book lore is that Kang was actually from the future and used his technology all the way back into the Aztec gods.
So, like, do you know the whole, like, Kang, like, I guess, story? basically? Like, because
I know
it's
a lot
kind of
of
like
it. It's all over
right?
the place. Yeah,
Yeah, because
there are so many different versions of Kang. Kang's even like one of the heroes in the new Avengers.
like because he's
Or
like a
Kid
descendant or
Avengers
something like that. He's like Iron Man or something like that.
It's Reed Richards. I think he's a descendant of Richards or Cyclops. Somebody. Yeah,
okay.
like it's just it's one of those. It's just all over the place.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's.
He said every point in time, though, right?
He always exists. Yeah.
So is he like omnipresent? I guess.
Well, yeah, and then like at one point he comes back and he's even comes back as like Vision at one point, and he's like, or a version of Vision or something. It's just so like tangled up, which people want things to be comic accurate in the movies, and they don't know what they're asking for because it's so confusing as it is. I don't want it to be comic accurate sometimes.
Right, yeah. I went down I tried to go down in his rabbit hole, and I was just like, all right, I'm a little bit lost.
I started digging my way back out about halfway through because I'm like, I'm just
like, who thought about that? Like that was what's crazy to me.
Yeah, and just like and then talk about overpowered and where things to be nerfed. Like when you start writing something like that, it's just so out there and all over the place that like you don't even have a chance to nerf it because you just start throwing things at the wall to try to nerf it, and it's just like
that is crazy.
Like at least like Professor X's child and the kid in the comics, at least they nerfed it by making him fucking nuts. The Legion, he has so many, like he has every power, but he's schizophrenic, so like at least that's his own nerf there.
Right.
So things like that, but like. When you start looking at who all's really Omega level, and then you see it on Facebook all the time, who would win? It's like, do you all even realize what you're asking a lot of these battles? Like,
so, does Kang really even have a weakness? I mean, I guess he's human though, right? I mean,
at the end of the day, he has weaknesses. It's just all the years of technology and omnipresent and being everywhere and doing everything. Like
there's no real way to I guess that big war, like he was talking about, like it was like, so many different versions of himself that it got down to he who remains, basically.
He has to kill,
Yeah, and so.
And then there's the whole spin on, was he even the most, which unfortunately we'll never know because.
I mean, yeah.
They screwed it all up, which.
Whatever. I mean, well, you saw the Council of Kangs or whatever, so I mean, that was.
Such a build-up.
Yeah.
Just to have something go wrong.
So, I mean, that. Man, they were gonna go so many different places with that. So, I mean, do you I worry that with them deviating from the Kang storyline and going with the whole Doomsday, are they just scrambling to get something together? And that is not.
I think that's part of the problem is they just was like, okay, he's gone. Cat's on the outside of the door.
Yeah, it's okay. The door's closed. She wants to get inside. Cats are like that, man. They have to be.
She won't even want to be in here either. It's just like, thank you for opening the door. I'm fine.
I just need to make sure everything's good.
I do. I think they scrambled a little bit, and then they were like, "How do we get to the next step?" Because I think the next step was going to be where we are now, but I think they're rushing it. I think the Kang Dynasty was going to bring the multiverse of people and the different variations, because that was kind of what Kang was. Look at all these variations. Look at the multiverse.
Yeah.
All these strands. And that's how you were going to bring X-Men in. That's how you're going to bring everything. But now they're going to have to bring it in by saying the Beyonders pulling from different worlds or different dimensions. You get to the same endpoint, but I think they're doing it a different way.
Okay.
Now, before they hit that endpoint, there's things I would love to see. I've heard Ryan Coogler's coming back for Black Panther 3.
Ooh. Yeah, I've heard that, yeah.
Bring Michael B. Jordan with you.
Yeah, man.
Let that be an alternate universe version of Black Panther and let him take the mantle.
Yeah, exactly.
He did such a good job.
A Killmonger.
That I actually didn't want to see him die at the end of the movie.
Yeah, I know.
His ending was even better. Talking about the descendants and being honest,
I mean, it would make sense because his body is, I don't say prepared, but his body can endure the process of the heart-shaped herb because not everybody can. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there is a version in the What If series where Killmonger is
the Black Panther. Yeah.
So just do it. Just just pull it out of the thin air when you go to the multiverse before you close that door, and give me another Black Panther. Not that Shuri. I'm not trying to be a women can't do it, but I've told you before, I want to see the Black Panther and the Storm in a relationship, even making comment about it.
I mean, because it would make sense because, like, he was, like, essentially king, as King Killmonger. So, I mean, he's, like, he's kind of, like, has, like, a right to heir, you know what I mean? So
yeah, if to be honest, he would be the king right now.
Right.
If he didn't die, he would literally took over the mantle because his uncle was eating. Black Panther died. So.
Yeah. I mean, it would just make sense, man.
So
oh my gosh, it would be so
give me
good.
that. Give me, give me a good tie-in to bring things back, and then give me Jonathan Majors. Just give me another Kang, just because I hate to see that storyline just go to waste.
Yeah, I know, man.
Especially over something that, like, at the end of the day, you were scared. I get it. You were scared about your numbers. You're scared about your money, ratings, because if all that came out that it was all true, he could have tanked a series.
Yeah.
But he was also a rising star, and
he was.
He was on the verge of just moving to that next level, that Michael B. Jordan level.
I was just gonna say.
And then it just all came crashing down. And like I said, I would have to really do a deep dive to see how innocent he is, and if it was just like hush money to make him shut up. But I've also seen videos of him like breaking up teenagers fighting and like being a good guy. Like, I've also seen those videos. So, it makes me wonder, like, I'm just, but tie up a lot. If you're going to tie this all up, tie it up in a nice bow.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Give me some finale on a lot of these characters, because we may not get back around to them.
Right. Yeah, man.
In this iteration. You
know? Because, I mean, shoot, like, this whole, superhero saga, whatever, can, come to an end eventually, after Secret Wars, who knows?
And then, like I said, give me a tie into World War Hawk as its own standalone movie.
Yeah, because
let the Hawks go at it on a, just
because I was saying, like, because my buddy was like asking about how they would do it. I'm thinking like maybe his son can probably get killed by something, because they introduced him in the She-Hulk series. So since they didn't really introduce his wife like that, if they plan on introducing his wife,
and of course I got a weird mind anyway, but Smart Hawk's not going to make it in the Secret Wars. We're battling the worst of the worst. We're going to have, if the people I want on there, you're going to have Doom, who's all powerful. You got Ultron back. You got Kang. You got all these super villains. They have Enchantress on there, which I don't know that she'll make it, but like, you have these most powerful villains, and you have this super villain Beyonder sitting up here. You have these people with mutant powers coming out of nowhere. You get all these people with all these powers. We don't need your brains. We need your brawn.
Right.
And then the darkest parts of him are at to come out. The parts where he was afraid to go anymore.
Right.
So now he needs to go off world. Maybe they're all too strong. So Beyonder's like, I can't, like, they're too powerful. So when I make this world again where they all go back to the same universe, I'm going to have to send them somewhere else. They're all too powerful. So you get Abomination, Red Hawk, Scar, She-Hulk, all of them. Let's send them all to this planet, and that's how you get World War Hawk.
Right.
And even have, maybe the surviving members go to try to find him, whatever, and that's how you lead into the movie. But just anything, just like...
Yeah. I mean, because he does come back with his team from the planet that he was on.
Yeah.
And maybe the, Agents of Smash could be his team, essentially. You know what I mean? I don't know if they want to introduce new characters or whatever from that world, fine. But, that probably would be a good take on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the two next big crossover movies, I can't wait to see all the things they do with it.
Right.
I can't wait to see some of the crossovers they do. I can't wait to see, like, which version of Colossus are we getting? Are we getting
which version of who?
Colossus.
Colossus. Okay.
We getting the brief one we got in the X-Men movie, or we getting the Deadpool version that's kind of goofy? And if we get the Deadpool version, I want to see like him and Red Guardian talk.
Ooh.
Because Red Guardian's goofy too. So give them in a conversation,
Yeah.
Like, Magneto looking at Iron Man, which I guess is no Iron Man, but, even trying to move like Thor Thor's weapon.
Right, Mjolnir.
Yeah, because it's metal. Like, I control all metal. You know, just like different interactions they can have.
Bro. Oh, my bad.
Wanda and Jean Grey talking. Like,
speaking of, like, the hammer, when Vision picked up his hammer, just like
tosses it up.
Oh my gosh, dog!
It was a perfectly done movie.
It was. Well, anything else you want to add? Any movie that you are anticipating on seeing or something like that? And we can wrap it up.
Yeah, we can wrap it up. Man, I'm a cinephile, so I love watching movies in general. So,
right.
You know, like, I wasn't really wanting to see Final Destination, but I might actually go see it in the theaters just because to get the cinematic experience.
Right.
But
yeah.
It's okay. But like, dude, like I was talking to Jolie, give me Lilo and Stitch. Give me Moana 2 live or Moana live action.
I think honestly, out of all the live action movies, Lilo and Stitch is the one that I really feel like is gonna.
Yeah, like
because I feel like all the other ones kind of felt like a little hollow. You know what I mean? Especially like the first Lion King. And I started watching the second Lion King with like the Mufasa or whatever. It's just not.
No, but this one I think can hit right. If you know, but give me those. Give me, I think there's a Moana coming out. You got it's a good year for movies. You got Fantastic Four coming out. You got Superman coming out. You got.
I'm really excited about.
We talked about Peacemaker earlier. I can't wait to see season 2.
Right.
You got Mortal Kombat 2 coming out this year. Like, there's so many. Yeah. Good movies coming down the pipe this year.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm really excited about Mortal Kombat 2, but I want to say I might be more excited about Superman because I really feel like James Gunn is kind of like playing this angle of leading us astray, especially like the naysayer and the haters and stuff like that. And then like when they come to see the movie, it's going to be like a type moment.
I'm excited because it doesn't look like an origin story.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like with Spider-Man did the same problem. At least the new Spider-Man was brought in, Tom Holland was brought in the middle of Civil War. Yeah. You didn't have to see him get bit. You didn't have to see Uncle Ben die. Mm-hmm. Like, it just started.
Yeah, we know at this point.
Right, and that's what I need. And even Batman, like, they keep doing it to an extent. They keep always bringing it back to the new one. Of course, it's just all Detective Batman, so it's a little different. But like,
it's like somebody has probably seen at least one version of Superman, one version of Batman, Spider-Man. So you don't really have to keep telling that story over and over. And then now
Superman is just bam. There are other superheroes. Look, here's a random ass Green Lantern. They're flying through. Because there are other superheroes. We're not going to act like there's not.
I think that's why there's so many superheroes in this movie, because people are afraid that like it's going to be like too crowded. But I think Superman is going to be the savior because they are already kind of like well seasoned, but Superman isn't. But then he's going to come and kind of like be the hero.
Here's the thing about a superhero: they don't have to be the main part of a story to be like and that's what people automatically think. Just like it's a Guardians matchup or it's an Avengers matchup.
Right.
Like, you can have Hawkman basically be like the mailman in a scene. Like, he's just there to give a little dialogue and then he's off to do his thing. Like,
it's essential.
Just because he's there doesn't mean that he's got to be a central part of the story. Like,
it's basically like Superman is going to like save his own movie in a sense. It was just crazy because, things are going to happen and go awry, but then he's going to have to like, be the hero at the end of the day. And it's about hope. It's about like people not feeling like, they have a protector, and Superman is eventually going to have to do something to give them that hope that he is their protector. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
Yeah, and I think people are going to they're already shitting on it. I think they're going to be highly surprised.
I think so too, because somebody made a good point about like what they think happened in that one scene where he's like facing the kaiju or whatever, and then like people are throwing stuff as he's like walking in the streets. I think that fight scene is going to be like at the beginning of the movie, and because if you watch as he's walking in the streets, he's all burned up, and that's what the kaiju are doing, is spitting out fire. And so like I think maybe there's going to be like a lot of collateral damage, and people are mad at him for that, and that's why they're throwing things at him. And so it's just some stuff like that keeps happening or has happened, to where like people don't look up to Superman.
Well, it's like we don't, you don't realize what you have till it's gone.
Right.
You know, like
right,
in that
exactly.
concept, like you got Green Lantern and these other people filling the battle, but like they can't do it as well.
Right.
And now he has to come back and save the city because
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I think it's going to be good. I really do have high hopes for it. But yeah, man, I'm going to have to wrap it up though.
Yeah, yeah. I was just seeing the same. My daughter's blowing me up. So
everything good?
Yeah, no, she graduates tomorrow. She got anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, "What time are you going to be there? What time?" I'm like, "You just go do you.
Right,
I will show up when I got to be there."
Well,
like,
yeah, tell her I said congratulations.
We'll
do.
Because
that's a big moment, man.
Yeah, she's graduating bachelor's in arts.
Damn,
and
nice.
Like I said, she's nervous, but like she's all worried about who's gonna be able to show up. And I was like, "Dude, this is about you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You going on stage and walking and grabbing it ain't for me.
Yeah,
it's for you. They're giving you that diploma, so just be proud of yourself. Don't worry who's out in the crowd. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Like this is your moment, not anybody else's.
Right. But still, daughter wants daddy there to she wants to see that she made it. She's proud of herself, and she just wants people present to to share that moment.
Yeah, and she actually was led to our first podcast together because she's the one that was throwing ideas with me when I came up with the Batman in the Middle Institute.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah,
cool,
so
cool.
She was talking about the Batman art, talking about different things, and we just kind of went down a rabbit hole on it.
Damn, that's awesome.
Which ain't the first time. And like I've gone down, I even went down one with Lilo and Stitch. So
right.
Leroy and Stitch, and you know how they've done those movies with Winnie the Pooh and different project or licenses that Disney's laps, and they make like a horror movie out of Winnie the Pooh, like Blood and Honey, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
But you make one with Leroy and Stitch doesn't land in Hawaii, lands in the ghetto, lands in Compton, meets with a guy named Leroy, and they use him as a weapon.
That's actually really good.
Gang name could be Ohana.
Yeah. That's actually pretty good in Lansing Compton.
yeah. Well, I mean, it could be the rough streets of Hawaii if you wanted, but
yeah, for sure.
But the gang, the gang's family, and they gotta come together, and then both gangs end up teaming up to fight the Galactic Force when they come looking for Stitch.
Right? Yeah, because I mean, he is essentially a weapon.
Yeah, because in a cartoon it's cute, but he's literally meant to be the best weapon. That's why they want him back so bad.
Right, exactly. So
yeah, you got Leroy and Stitch, but then I found out that's what actually the sequel's called, is Leroy and Stitch.
Really?
In the cartoons. Yeah, I was like, well, shit.
Oh, well.
But I've come up with somebody else, but Leroy worked out.
Yeah, you got it.
You could have Vin Diesel in there somewhere saying family.
Right, right. Yeah, like flying a car and shit.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
That's the next movie anyway, right?
Yeah, pretty. With his face, bro.
Everybody else is in the movie. Stitch could probably be in the next Fast and Furious.
Man, why not, bro?
I've heard they even rewrote that because Jason Momoa's character was too popular. Now he's going to be part of the family in the next one. Literally every enemy they have, they're like, add him too.
Family.
And then that's what I heard recently is that Jason Momoa is going to team up with him now.
Mm-hmm.
And the villain from part 2 that got blowed up, I thought, because I thought that was the end of it. They blew up the one with just Paul Walker and Tyrese.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, it's Rip from Yellowstone's.
Okay.
But he's going to come back after all these years, and he's going to be the main villain. And it's going to tie into he's been pulling the strings all along.
So is this going to be the last and final?
Yeah, I think there's supposed to be 2 more, but I hope they just stop at this next one.
Yeah. I hope so, man. I get it.
I love them. I've watched every one. I ain't going to say I haven't.
Yeah.
Well, what point, dude? Come on.
Right, yeah, because I think you're throwing everything at the wall.
And you're running out of actors to put in it, too, because you brought everybody. Gal Gadot fell out of a plane.
Yeah, I mean...
And she popped out of a submarine. This last was like, hey, I'm back, too.
Yeah, you've had, John Cena, Jason Statham, The Rock. You got... Freaking what's
Tyrese, Ludacris, Bow Wow,
everybody, bro.
Marvel was in it too. Captain Marvel,
Brie Larson.
Yeah, she showed up. You had Kurt Russell in it for a while. You had Charlize Theron.
Right. That's what I was trying to think of.
Helen Mirren has popped in. Like dude, you have everybody in that. Every person, bro. Like, and you can need to get a SAG card. Go be Fast and Furious. Get your SAG card for the year.
Right. Dang, that's crazy. Like, I didn't realize it. Like, now that I think about it, so many people's been in there. It's crazy.
Yeah. I still don't even think that's all of them.
Nah, man, nah. Yeah, I'm kind of ready for it to be done. Maybe, you know, it'd be cool if they just went back to the basics. You know what I mean?
Like the last one, just a car race.
Yeah, if they just went back to the basics, none of that, all the whole explosions and all that stuff.
Like that first one was a cool premise.
It was.
Getting into the street racing game.
Yeah.
Because people with these kind of cars is who's got to be doing these jobs.
It could be a good, like, ending to, like, you know, the last movie. You know what I mean? Just going back to just a regular street race, man. That could be like the cherry on top, bro.
Yeah.
That could be the cherry. That's what I would do. I'll just go back to a regular street race. You know, kind of like you can probably recreate the first, you know, the last ending to the first movie, right? Because they were like they're about to take off racing at the last.
Here the railroad tracks is a quarter mile. You still owe me a ticket.
Just something like that, man. You know,
you still owe me a pink slip, something like
right,
that.
Right? Yeah. So I mean,
3-second car or something like that. Yeah,
they can do it, man. But. Well, man,
it's been real.
Yeah,
do it again.
I appreciate you.
Catch up on the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, we'll catch up on the Thunderbolts. Like I said, I fumbled the scheduling and whatnot. I was supposed to have another friend here, Che, who was on the last episode, but we're gonna do it Tuesday. Today's Sunday, and so I'm gonna put this one out, and I'm gonna put the other one, the next one out too, when we're talking about the Thunderbolts. So. Just want to be more prepared so we can give y'all a quality video, quality podcast, or whatever. But I do appreciate you coming through, John, so we can just chop it up about any and everything, man.
Yeah.
It really has been
a nice
fun.
Little Mod Podge, just throw it all together. Yeah.
I like it, man. Yeah. So
like the barbecue, bring your own. Everybody got a little bit of something in it. Yeah,
exactly. A little pitch in. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all tuning in. If y'all made it this far, or really even just clicking on a video or listening to it just to check it out, you know what I mean? But stay tuned for my Thunderbolts episode coming next. I want to say, honestly, you know what? I'm going to release it later on this week, okay? So it's going to be a good 2-for-1, I guess, all right? So with that being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, and I'm going to catch y'all in the next one, all right? Peace.